history. And one day we be coming. Drop some buckets and then we kick the bucket. Just trying to reach the peak before I finally plummet.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? What's up? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. All right, welcome to another Talk That Talk Tuesday. Hey, you know, we finna bring that fire tonight. We hooded up. We ready to rock and roll. Man, hey, Lost in Translation, you can take it from here, man. While I get everything else situated on this side over here, because I got to get my mic. I hear my mic is not, it's going through the camera, not coming through the mic. So, but you can go ahead and take it from there, my guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Talk That Talk Tuesday. Welcome back. Tonight is going to be a fantastic show. And we're going to be talking about none other than what's selective equality. And what does that mean? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will find out. Now, before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and say hello to a few people in the chat. Number one, we're going to say hello to the one and only Embrace the Grace. If you guys have not had an opportunity to submit or subscribe to her channel, please go ahead and take the time to do that tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to also recognize Miss Jenny in the chat. Yes, indeed. Also, I want to go ahead and recognize a few other people as I bring them up. Make sure that you guys hit the subscribe button. If you're new, hit the like button. Make sure you do that. Also, hit the Cash App when you get an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go ahead and put that up there too. Also, want to go ahead and shout out to the time. What's up? What's going on? Also, I'm going to go ahead and start bringing some people up so we can check them out. Now, the first person I'm going to bring up tonight is none other than the one and only, the person I just talked about, Embrace the Grace. Hello, darling.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am
How
well.
was your day?
It was good. How was your day today?
It was long. I just got off at 9 o'clock. So, but this is my second job, ready to go at it.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening on this wonderful conversation. And the next person I'm going to bring up, she has a show here on Black Men Unfiltered on Saturday nights. It's called Conversations with a Married Woman. Y'all, I'm going to bring on up once again, this is Miss Jenny, the one and only. All right. Good evening, Miss Jenny. How are you this evening?
I'm terrific now that I get to hang out with you fine people.
Indeed. The next person we're going to bring up is the one and only from the Chi-Town. I don't know if she's from Chi-Town or not, but she act like it. Let's go ahead and bring up Anissa. How you doing, Anissa?
Good evening, everybody. All right, Law.
Indeed. Also, we have another lady in the back, Miss Kale Bev. Come on in. Welcome to the stream. How are you this evening, ma'am?
I'm doing good. How are you? How's everybody doing?
Doing well.
Good evening. How are you?
Good. And the last person we'll bring up is none other than the president of the Bald-Headed Brothers. Once again, the BBB, the beautiful, the beneficent, the Bald Brotherhood. Let's bring him up, y'all. Mr. Paul Bennett.
What's good, everyone? But I must correct you just a little bit, sir. I am the president of the bold and the beautiful, the beneficent, the benevolent Bald Brothers of the BME Network. Shout out to everyone out there. Shout out to the Follically Free. Good to be with you guys this evening. Salute.
Thank you so much.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
When he say follically free, that just throws me for a loop, bro. Like, who sits there and just comes up with this follically free? I'm just, man, this is crazy.
All right, Mr. Bennett, did you dethrone R-Pain as president?
What's that now? R-Pain is one of our members. R-Pain, Trey, all is good. JT, so we take over these airways. We just dominate.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys for being here tonight. You always know when you come in, I always have to check everybody's mental health because that's important these days. I want to check on you guys, see how you guys are doing, and I know that Lost had already touched on it. So, but I, Embrace the Grace. They already told us about her day. Miss Jenny, Anissa, came in smiling. Callie Bev, always coming in real smooth. She's a smooth operator. You look at her, she was smiling. It is. And then Mr. Bennett. So thank you guys for being here, man. Glad all you guys are doing fine and doing great. And I wanted to get into the show tonight. Now, I want to hop right in on this one. Before I play the video, I want to ask the question starting with Callie Bev here. When it comes to selective equality, what does that say to you? What does that mean to you?
Oh boy. Selective equality means to me is the equality that people really that most women are really talking about, as far as, when we say we want equality, we're not talking about every single thing all the way down the line. And then men in the space will use that talking point against us, saying, "I thought you wanted equality. Go downstairs and confront the robber." That's not what we mean by equality. So when I hear selective equality, it sounds like a long way of saying regular.
Okay.
Regular equality that we're all talking about in context, but never gets talked about in context.
Okay. All right. Now, I want to get Mr. Bennett. Mr. Bennett, selective equality, what does that mean to you?
It's just a fancy word for saying that everyone, regardless of who you are, wants the upper hand and advantage, but you will use the terms of equality as a means to get there. But oftentimes the oppressed become the oppressors. So I just think it's just a nice way of, using the name and the means, but ultimately at the end you want to be in charge. And I think that applies to every human being that's ever lived on earth.
Absolutely. All right, Anissa.
When I think of it, I think it means we want to be equal on a certain level, on certain plane, with regarding certain things. But when it's not beneficial to us, then it's not what we want. So I think we pick and choose where we want our equality. We pick and choose where it's beneficial, and then if it's not beneficial, then it's like, oh well, you're the man, or oh well, you're the woman. So I think we kind of just we want things our way when it's convenient for us, and so we pick and choose, what equality means for us.
All right, Miss Jenny, what about you?
Yeah, I think that everybody's hitting the nail on the head. It's all about convenience. And I've once heard the saying that equality, if we were used to privilege, feels like oppression. And so we want to be equal in the stuff that we want to do, but we don't really want to be equal because we don't actually want to have to pay to get in the club, and we don't actually want to have to make the first move, and we don't want to have to be in the part of the draft. So it's all about being equal in the stuff that we want to do. Don't get a twist in the thing we really want to be equal in everything.
All right, embrace the grace.
I'm going to use a selective equality where we select certain equalities that we want at our convenience and what benefits us. We want equality, but only when it benefits us and it's convenient for us. And we select. So to me, that's what selective equality is. We want to be equal, but we want to select in what areas we want to be equal to. We want to pick and choose, but it's either all across the board, it's all or nothing, but we like to, pick and choose at it.
We're going to get to that. Lost in translation. Come on, talk to me. My wonderful co-host, rocking with me every Tuesday, man. What are your thoughts, man? What does it mean to you? I know you're gonna bring it. Come on.
Listen, it's basically means that people want to eat from the buffet of the patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? They want all the benefits and none of the doggone side effects. You know what I'm saying? They want all the money, but nobody wants to get on the oil rig to do the dangerous jobs. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to get the CEO money, but nobody wants to take out the trash. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to be equal and wants to be a partner until it's come time for them to pay their half of the mortgage. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wait a minute, what's going on here now?
Come on.
You want to get all the benefits of the patriarchy, but you don't want none of the responsibilities. So basically, it's just like a buffet, man. You want to take the part that serves you, and then the part that requires responsibility and accountability, you won't have no part of that.
Absolutely. Now, I agree with embrace the grace. I think it's what I want. But I don't want to get into me and go into a long soliloquy. I want to play this video. These young ladies did a great job of explaining what it means. Here we go.
Say to all you men, us women, we tired of getting disrespected.
That's right.
Y'all men want to be leaders. We want to be leaders too.
Yup.
Y'all men want to get money. We want to get money too.
Money.
Y'all men want to pay the bills. We want to pay the bills too. Y'all men want to propose. Hell, we want to get on one knee and propose too.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's time for us women to stand up. Don't touch me. It's time for us women to take the lead. It's time for us women to pay for the first date. It's time for us to mow the lawn. It's time for us to do.
I was getting on her side there. I was like, amen.
She was on the roll, wasn't it?
She was on the roll.
I didn't stop at cutting the grass.
Right.
Now, you know, I don't want anybody out there
Y'all
to be,
confused.
because I don't want you to be confused, okay? So I need you guys to pay attention. Now we got Trey in the building. Now it would be, and it's an honor to have my brother here, but it will be a shame not to acknowledge Trey when he's here. Trey is in the building.
It's not my fault.
Ladies, if you get on Trey's bad side, you may hear something like this. Or you may hear something like this.
No damn clone.
You know, when he comes in, he wants to hear this.
I can't help it that I'm custom made. I can't help it that I look good, smell good, can dance all night long. I can't help it.
So I want to welcome Trey to the show tonight.
Can't
Trey,
help
thank you for being here, man. You my boy, you my brother from another mother. Now I don't know if you saw the video. Did you see the video?
No, I'm sorry. I was a little late, tardy.
Okay. Let me play the video for you again. All right, here we go.
Say to all you men, us women, we tired of getting disrespected.
That's right.
Y'all men want to be leaders. We want to be leaders too.
Yup.
Y'all men want to get money. We want to get money too.
Money.
Y'all men want to pay the bills. We want to pay the bills too. Y'all men want to propose. Hell, we want to get on one knee and propose too.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's time for us women to stand up. Don't touch me. It's time for us women to take the lead. It's time for us women to pay for the first date. It's time for us to mow the lawn. It's time for us to do.
Trey, you just coming in the door, man. What are your thoughts on that, brother? We'll go around the room. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with her? Because Embrace the Grace just said this. She says only what benefits them. And so when she started talking about mowing the lawn and paying for dates and getting on one knee, she got choked out. Trey, what's your thoughts?
Well, she's a little late to the party. It's already happening. If you watched our Pain show yesterday, what the topic was, woman who proposed to a man. And he was sitting there with his eyes crying. He was in tears. And he held his hand out like, go ahead, put the ring on. Go ahead. Right? So it's already happening. This is a done deal. Women are already mowing the lawn. I can drive down my neighborhood and you will see single women out front mowing the lawn. So it's already happening. We're already past that. Women are already offering to take men out on dates. Women are already offering to pay the bills. They already are doing this. She's behind. She's probably about 10 years behind, to be quite honest. They're already doing this. Unfortunately, she, like many women, are out of order, and this is wrong. It's not the proper way of doing things. And the problem is that a lot of men don't have the balls and the guts to say, sit down, be quiet. That's not the way we do things around here. I pay the bills. I'll cut the grass. I'll take you out to dinner. I'll pay for the dinner. They won't say it. A lot of guys will say, well, if I just kind of let her do it, she'll sleep with me. So, yeah, go ahead. You could just go ahead and do it. It don't affect my manhood, which is incorrect. It does affect your manhood. I would get offended when I was on dates with my ex, and when the bill came, she started, what you reaching for? What are you looking for? Now we have a child together, and all of a sudden I can't pay for the bill. Now I can't pay for it. No. That's disrespectful. So it's two-part. A lot of the women, they've already started this, but a lot of the men are weak. There's a saying, the women are empowered because the men are weak. A lot of these men are too weak to say, no, this is not how things go. This is the way we're going to do things.
Mm, 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 mm. Now I want to move this thing around. I'm gonna leave Callie Bev and Uncle Rick together. I'm gonna put Trey over here with Anissa.
There you go.
I'm
We
gonna
had
put.
one little nice moment, and you couldn't leave it alone.
I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm gonna put JT with Embrace the Grace, and I'm gonna put Mr. Bennett with Miss Jenny because I think this is balances it out tonight. It balances it out. All right. So since we got that, Mr. Well, I'm gonna go up to the ladies. Anissa, what do you think about the video? Do you think these ladies were on to something, or you think they're behind like Trey said?
Well, I actually agree with Trey. They are definitely behind. Now she started out right. But you see how when she got to we want to pay bills too and cut the grass that's what we mean by selective. She started out good, but when she started talking about those things that men typically do and now we want to do it, everybody was looking like, nah, we didn't say all of that. So yeah. That was a prime example. That video was excellent to illustrate what we're talking about.
Absolutely,
But I agree
Mr.
with
Bennett.
Trey. What?
You agree with Trey, man? You on top right now, Mr. Bennett. What are your thoughts?
Well, in a bubble, just my dating history, I've done Dutch, I've done, more modern type of dating. So honestly, I don't mind. But the question you always has to ask is, what's the cost at the end? Are you trying to assume control over a situation? I mean, it's almost like a lot of women who are in a power position. It's almost like act like you've been here before, because you will start to flex that and you will start to emasculate your men. I got friends of mine where the lady is very successful and she lets them know it. You don't typically get that with a lot of guys on the other end because we've been so used to doing it. It's like it's expected of us. But now that a lot of women are now power players, they try to use that. So what's the aim at the end of the day? If you can have a one pot mentality where you're not trying to lord your ability, your newfound abilities and whatnot to earn money and to take on responsibilities, but you can certainly maintain a house and keep keep a respectable relationship at home, then honestly, I don't mind it. But unfortunately, I've seen too many women when they do get that one-upsmanship, there's always a cost that comes with it. Men, not as much because we've been doing it for a while.
Miss Jenny.
I'm just taking in everything that everybody was saying. And so, yeah, I think that what Trey said is right, that this woman, she actually is a little behind, because I have seen other women, single women or women who are in these kind of, boss babe relationships. There are doing not the housework, but like the outside labor. And, they're going out and they're getting the money and they're paying for stuff and they think that's cool. And they're men, like Trey was saying, the guys are like, well, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect my masculinity. And I've always looked at that and I thought that looked strange. but my marriage is like that, personally speaking. And so yeah, I think that it's just becoming more and more trendy, and it is out of order. It's not meant to be that way. And one of the reasons why it's not meant to be that way is because, like someone else just said, I don't know who just went before, but that it's the mindset that goes along with the success of a woman. Is that a woman, she'll become successful and start smelling her own, smelling herself and start reading her own news clippings and thinking that she's so great. Well, a man, he's like, well, this is just what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to support my family. And a woman makes money and it's for her. Well, a man makes money, it's for the family. And so it's just all about the mindset. I think that is what's really is the issue, and that's where the problems lie.
Okay, JT, what's going on, man? And welcome tonight, my brother.
Hey, man, I told y'all to wait up for me. You was not supposed to have this damn show going on without waiting on me. No, what's going on, man?
What's going on, my brother?
Bro. So what was the question now?
So what did you think about the video? Did you get a chance to see it?
Yeah, I did get a chance to see it. It was a great mockery of the women. And it actually, I liked it because that's what they were doing. They were being pushed this whole thing of doing what men do, paying and then getting on one knee. Yes, it was all good. And it was all cool until you had to start actually doing something that was worth doing duty and things for other people. When they started talking about, but it was funny when she said we can get on one knee and and propose. And it was just cool how they did it, where the acting was pretty dope. I liked it. So yeah, man, I really liked that clip. That was dope.
All right, embrace the grace, and embrace the grace. And today we're dealing with a lot of. So when it comes to this type of stuff, so I want you yourself to tell me, what do you think about the video?
I think the video shows exactly what's going on right now. I mean, women say, I want you to be a protector and a provider, but then I need you to pay all my bills. I'm confused. You know what I'm saying? Which one is it? You want to be strong and independent, but then you got to pay for my hair, pay for my nails, pay for my baby daddy, child support, do this, do that. I mean, you got to pick a side. Either you're going to be a traditional woman and allow the man to be traditional, or you're going to be a modern woman and be with a modern man. But you can't have on both sides. It's either all or nothing once again, and it confuses men. It's like, okay, you want this, but you're asking for this. And another thing is that women use their salaries and their PhDs for control and to oppress the man and not allowing him to be the man. And I'm going to share something with you real quick. As a little part-time job, I work at a grocery store, and I was cashing the couple out. The man had his card out, ready to pay, and here she come, bogarting him. And I said, whoa, what we doing over here? Let the man pay for the groceries. And she looked at me like I was crazy. I'd be ready for the smoke, but I, kind of feel the vibe on what's going on. And the guy looked at her, then looked at me, and she looked at me crazy. I said, why would you do that in front of me and take away this man's manhood? He is paying for the groceries. Your job is to go home and cook the meal. Okay, allow him to be the man. If he falls and makes a mistake, that's where you come in as a woman. And if the card declines or something happens, that's where but women just don't get it. It's like you want a man, but you don't allow the man to be a man. And then you get pissed off when they pookies and ray rays.
You want to fold no damn clone.
I digress. My mic is muted.
Uncle Rick, man, welcome to the show, my brother. Man, what are your thoughts about this conversation? Selective equality.
What's good with you, Uncle Rick?
What's good, Trey, my boy? What's happening, man? Shout out to everybody on the panel, man. Happy New Year to everybody. Y'all made it through another one. I'm proud of y'all. Shit, it's a lie. Come on, man. Like, all they do is lie. This is like every day, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If it was 8 days, they don't want equality, right? They don't want equality, right? They want the power that men afford them. Right? They don't really want men. They want the power that men afford them to have. Right? They don't want it. And wait, where's this happening? I know my boy Trey said it's happening. I ain't seen it happen now. I don't know no woman that want to mow no grass or pay no bill or shovel snow. I still ain't met one.
That's just involuntary.
Right. They do it. They'll do it because they have to, right? But just like y'all said, if they can afford it, they'll pay somebody to come out there and do it before they have to do it themselves if they can afford it. But most of them are doing those type of things out of necessity, period. It's not that they're strong or independent. It's just they have to do it, because if it was somebody to do it for them, they'll have somebody do it for
them. Callie Bell. Last but not least at all, what do you got, sweetheart?
Callie Bev, you went and put on some makeup. I just seen you like 3 hours ago.
I put on some lip gloss. That was it. We low maintenance over here.
Right.
Whatchamacallit? I think that a lot of the times what the women are doing when they do emasculate their men or whatever, I don't think they know what they're doing. I don't think there's no kind of malicious intent involved in it. They just it's like automatic pilot. Perfect example. All right, the battery went out in my car. Okay.
Uh-oh.
We bought the battery. All right. Now, my husband, he works on Saturdays, okay? But he's off on Mondays when I'm at work. But at any rate, the battery he bought it on Tuesday. It's been sitting there like, all week, right? Saturday come, I'm like, I'm bored. What does YouTube University have? Okay, let me see what YouTube University, how to replace battery. Oh, da, 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 da. He was highly upset, long story short, that I was almost done putting that battery in when he pulled up in the garage coming home from work. He was mad. I told you I was going to do it tomorrow. I was like, well, I got bored. I wasn't, it was something to do. But, that's what I was taught. You figure out how to do something. I replaced the computer screen on my Dell computer a long time ago. I ordered the part, figured out how to put it in. I got my little mini screwdriver and
Hold.
Bad wife.
So, so,
Bad
so,
wife.
so you telling me you knew he what? You saying that you didn't know he was gonna be mad when he saw you putting that battery in?
No, I didn't think he was gonna be mad like that. No,
Cap.
Cap.
I didn't. Because if I had known he was gonna be mad like that, I would have probably found something else to do.
So you saying you don't know your man?
No, I didn't know he was gonna be mad like that. It's just a battery. It's been sitting here all week.
Is it or is it the principle?
What principle?
The principle of the thing.
What he was mad at?
No, was he mad at you putting the battery in, or was he mad behind the principle of you putting the battery in?
It was more so about the principle behind putting the battery in.
Okay, so you
because he wasn't worried about you gonna break your nails and it wasn't any of that.
Right,
you could hurt yourself.
It's about him doing it on his time and not yours.
Yeah, it was the principle of the thing.
Okay, just making sure.
Hey, Callie Bev, is this some sort of like kinky backwards makeup sex kind of thing that y'all do? Like you piss him off on purpose, and then he. No, okay. I just wanted to make sure because I know some couples they into that stuff.
No, they nothing. Well, I can't say that, but no, we don't do that around here. If you mad, you mad.
Did he check your work? Did he check your? Did he still go behind you and check your work to see if you did it right?
Oh, he went back over there and tightened up bolts and all that kind of stuff like that. I'm already knowing. But I think that it's just I don't think there's any intent behind it or whatever. I think they just operating on just autopilot, not even necessarily thinking about the the X, Y, and Z after W. But this equality stuff, okay. So I think what it is that they holler equality because I don't want to go back to being in the house. I'm outside, right? I gotta go to work. I gotta get out these four walls. But then on the other hand, it's like I'm not trying to go outside and clean no gutters. Like I'm not doing that. They still have somewhat of a basic outline of what traditional roles are, but they're not trying to go all the way back to it being that rigid of traditional roles like that. Like I tried to stay at home mom thing. I'm not doing that no more. I was bored. Get me out of this house. I gotta go to work. But at the same time, I will, I'm not mowing no lawn. I'm not taking out no trash. I'll be in the kitchen and I'll cook and I'll do all that stuff, but I still have the basic framework of what traditional roles are. So I don't think you're going to get a full on traditional, 100% traditional woman. You're going to get some kind of mix between the two. Cause we're all modern.
Appreciate it. Welcome to the live stream, the one and the only R Payne. R Payne, I know you've been back there watching, man. What did you think about the video?
Yeah,
man?
I've seen that video before, and the toughest things any man has ever done is turn down a nice piece of willing, steaming ass piece of pussy. There
That
you
was
we
good
would never let you
timing.
live
That
that
was
down.
good timing, dog.
You'll never let me live that
That
shit
was
down.
good
Oh
timing.
no.
First of all, the truth of the matter is that it's true, but
Yeah.
it won't let me live it down.
Or Payne, you're
So,
the entrepreneur. You're the entrepreneur of the group, so you should to get the patent and start printing your T-shirts with that on it. You make a fortune, sir.
you know, this is a funny thing. I think I love women more than a lot of men do, because I think I understand them. Because I've been with one woman for so long, I've had the opportunity to look at women in their totality as opposed to just trying to stroke them. I think that gives you a little insight more than most men who are single and free and look at all women as a piece of steak. But, you know, so I look at that video, and one of the things I think most modern men have to understand, no matter what you do, if you have a woman who's educated, that's used to working, you have to compromise on a few things, you know. So you have to understand that some of the tradition has to leave, but your masculinity is not based on standing on tradition. You just need to stand on your square as the man who's the head of the household. If a woman doesn't want to accept that, then don't marry her. You know, I mean, it's as simple as that. You have to.
What if you already married and she put the battery in the car?
Let me
You
let
know
me
that
let
you
me just
supposed
finish saying
she's
what I
supposed to
gotta
wait for
say.
you.
I mean, we can go into the eaches later on, and I'll answer that. But one of the things you need to do as a gatekeeper of marriage as a man is that you have to be aware, and you have to somehow, as best you can, because it's all risk mitigation. You're never going to be 100% sure. Is that the woman you let into the house views you as her first best choice. And you can only do that as best you can. Because once a woman views you as her first best choice, there's some things you don't have to worry about. That she's not one of monkey branch. She's not going to use you as part of her dual mating strategy where she loves you, but she's letting some other man impregnate her because the damn paternity fraud is up to 30, 40%. So it's one of the things you have to do. Is it easy? No. But I can't stand guys keep telling me how hard it is. You got to do what it takes to find yourself the woman that you want, especially if you're married minded. But if you're not married minded, do something else. So back to the lady who talks about the domestic chores. The only square I think a man needs to stand on is his leadership in the household. I cook. When I cook in my house, my daughters and my wife love me because I come up with some shit that's so good that every Sunday when I get them around the table and I can get them around the table, is my own thing is so I can conversate with them over a meal. And my meals are, listen, I'm pretty good, right? And the reason why I'm pretty good is because I used to use that to get laid when I was in college. So I know how to cook.
It's
I know how
sophisticated.
so I'm
That's
putting
the
it to
chef.
good
That's
use.
Chef Booty.
So I still manipulate women by their food to them because they could feed me and I could feed them, but it's a different motivation. So just getting back to it. So this when women say, I want to do this, I want to do that, and they work. If your woman works, this 50-50 thing is bullshit because all women at all times used to have to contribute to the financial backing of the house. That doesn't take your leadership away. And any woman who wants to take your leadership away just because she makes money, get rid of that fucking chick. Because that's not how it works. My wife had a great job when I met her. And the only reason why she stopped working is because I asked her to, because she was coming home in a frazzle because her boss was a bitch. And I said, I can't fix that. So my solution was come home, I'll take care of you. And I promise our lifestyle won't change. And that's what happened. So a lot of men have to make that promise. That's what I did. And our life has been pretty good. I'm going to land it here. You know what today our argument was about?
What's
She
that?
made some cornbread and she put one pat of butter in the middle of my cornbread. So I bit into the shit. It was dry as a fuck, man. I said, how come you didn't butter my cornbread? She said, well, I put a pat. I said, man, Wilson, you're supposed to butter the whole goddamn thing. She said, well, I only put one butter in there. I said, well, that's for you. For me, I want the shit drenched in butter and shit. And so we're going back and forth about my biscuit being buttered. And that's the kind of discussions we have now after 36 years. Now, I was smiling, she was smiling, but she was on her script. I said, listen, and when you get me some more cornbread, don't bring the butter up to me. I trust you to butter my shit, properly now that I've told you. And that's the kind of arguments we have. And I wish for all of you people who find a wife or a husband that you love, that those are the kind of things y'all talk about as opposed to all this other bullshit that we get into on these internet screens. I mean, after 30-something years, I can't explain to the rest of you guys, and I'm gonna land it here. The kind of connection we have is just unfreaking canny. It really is. Now I'm starting to understand at 65 years old that when people are married for 50 years, when one goes, the other goes in a few weeks later. I'm starting to understand that. Well, let me.
You keep eating all that damn butter, you're gonna go real soon.
Hey, well, I told her, she said this to me. I said, don't worry about it. That's my problem. You know what I'm saying? Just look at the insurance policy, goddammit, and give me my butter.
You know
She
what
ain't ready to cash out yet.
Hey, she wants you to wear the butter instead of eat the butter. Okay.
No, I'm kind of happy. I'm joking, but I'm really serious. I'm tired of being the guy up here talking about this shit. Our relationship, anybody who's married now, if the shit that y'all have with your spouse is something that you can live with, don't be fucking moving out because you have an argument. I mean, when you get to that point when it's 30, 40, 50 years, the bliss is unbelievable. I'm serious. I don't know how to convey it any better than I'm doing now.
But that butter, that's a butter clip right there. That's about to be clipped out. You ain't gonna live a whole bunch of shit down. That shit about to be clipped out.
I would say
another T-shirt. Another T-shirt.
The easiest way to get over that, those little things like that, and the battery incident as well, is knowing that the other person is not doing this to you with ill intent. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing it on purpose, just to, on some tit for tat. I gotta get back at you because you did something 2 months ago type deal. If you know that that person actually is genuine and it was like a real honest, like, I didn't think about that, I'm sorry type deal, it's a whole lot easier to get over that.
Indeed. I want to welcome everybody to the show, the one and only Culture Collision. I know you probably been watching this thing, man. Did you get an opportunity to see the video, sir? I need you to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I've been super busy. Being a professional, being a therapist, trying to get my computer working. So I apologize, man. Y'all gonna have to keep me up to breast with what you guys been talking about.
Indeed. Did you get an opportunity to see the video?
No, sir, I didn't.
I'll tell you what. Let me run it back for you one more time.
Say to all you men, us women, we tired of getting disrespected.
That's right.
Y'all men want to be leaders. We want to be leaders too.
Yup.
Y'all men want to get money. We want to get money too.
Money.
Y'all men want to pay the bills. We want to pay the bills too. Y'all men want to propose. Hell, we want to get on one knee and propose too.
Whoa.
It's time for us women to stand up. Don't touch me. It's time for us women to take the lead. It's time for us women to pay for the first date. It's time for us to mow the lawn. It's time for us to do.
Yeah, they went for to cut that grass, man.
Yeah, well, they always say, man, until it's time to do it. I call it taxation without representation. Everybody want to be the big dog until it's time to be the big dog, and then when doo-doo hit the fan, then they want to go back to being women. I think the greatest paragon of femininity is when a woman can be secure in herself and not trying to compete with her men. I always tell a woman her greatest strength is her ability to compliment her man, and her man compliment her on the back end. But sadly, so many of our women have been compromised by liberal dogmas and liberal ideologies to the point now that the virtues that men are looking for now, many men are checking out of relationships. As a licensed therapist, I see it all the time where men compromise their power in relationships. And the greatest key to a good relationship is complimenting one another. But I think many times, guys, women go into relationships broken. They go into relationships with walls up. And because of those proverbial walls, those walls keep them from getting the intimacy that they need. You cannot have a relationship if you're coming to that relationship, number one, emotionally unavailable, but number two, broken. And because of that, a lot of women, they come in not giving their all, and it causes a lot of issues in relationships.
Awesome. Let me ask you, why do you think that women come into relationships not prepared to give their all?
Listen, most typical women now, well, it's for a myriad of reasons. Vicarious trauma that could have been more or less impacted by negative socialization. They saw their mothers go through certain things, and they equivocated all the things that their mothers went through to all black men that they never met. Some of it could be to over sexualization, sleeping with a bunch of men to the point now they are broken because they still have the image or sometimes the presence of the men that they slept with. And then also it could be they haven't been taught to be wives. This is a generation. I would say Gen X was the last generation that was maybe in the middle. I'm Gen X, so we got a little bit of old school, new school. But the generations that are preceding that, they really don't have a vestige of what the generations of past had. And because of that, they're not coming to relationships equipped or ready to be a wife. A wife is about service. Men and women serve one another. If the woman served the man on the front end, meaning she'd submit to him, honor him, and obey him, the dirty word that was in the vows years ago, then the man would submit to her on the back end. Submission is a duality between men and women, but the submission looks different. But our women have been subjugated by these liberal talking points called partners. And in the past, when I went to grad school at UNC, I never heard the word partner. I'm like, what's a partner? But now they use those word partnerships because they both want power in the relationship. If you take it back to the theological says that since the fall of man, it's been a war between man and women where the woman want the power as well. But the natural inclination of the woman was to submit to her husband and be under his authority. He loved her and lead her and guide her. That's where you hear the word groom. But there's a lot of brokenness in relationships. And because of that, not getting the requisite help and projecting the pain to others, being emotionally unavailable for whatever reasons, it's caused a lot of women not to give the man that they're dealing with the things that he needs. Now, I'm not talking about an average guy or a typical guy. I'm talking about a man that's done the work too. I don't believe that women should give their best to men that are not worthy of it, and vice versa. I believe where there's fair exchange, there's no robbery. But sadly, what's happened now is that you got modern women that want taxation without representation. They're not giving men a vestige of what their grandmother gave the grandfathers years ago, but they want to give men subpar while demanding the best. And it doesn't work that way in relationships, especially with a masculine man.
That'll work. Thank you. Rick, let me ask you a question, man. Coach has said that sometimes the reason why women don't come to a relationship prepared is because of previous trauma. How come there's no conversation about men and their trauma in relationships?
Why there is no conversation?
Yeah.
Because no one cares.
Right.
You're
right. He's right.
No woman don't care what you went through or you know what I'm saying? Those are the things they use to hit you below the belt. Oh, you got mama problems, you got daddy issues, right? You know what I'm saying? Who hurt you? One of y'all did. If I date primarily black women, one of y'all did. No one cares. I wish we I wish we really get past this point of where there's this false air of, oh, we feel this way, right? And we care about no, y'all don't.
Right.
Y'all don't. I'm sick of that lie. Now, if a man's lucky enough, if he's smart enough, if he stands on square enough, right? If he provides enough, he could find a woman that could put that other shit to the side and maybe, just maybe, love a part of him for him. Maybe. But y'all know why y'all with him.
Can I say something?
Y'all know why you with him. You know. You with him because he take care of you. You with him because he holds you down. When the world against you, you know he there. You know it. You know when you go out, unless it's a special night or it's something you want to do special for him, his credit card gonna beat the table before your hand can even reach your purse. You know it. You knew, Callie, that you really didn't have to change that battery. Stop the lies. It's okay, right? Because when we get back to you really understanding what your man provide for him, understand it's not a want, that he provides needs that get done for you within your life. It's a lot harder to get rid of somebody you need than something you want. You need feet. You can live without them, but ain't none of y'all running to cut them off because it's the thing to do.
Appreciate it, Rick. Embrace the grace. You wanted to add something to what Rick was saying.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback on that. The thing is, it starts from a little boy's childhood. It's like they're trained to suffer in silence. Oh, suck it up, get up. You know, it's not that bad. You know, you better not cry. So it's like we don't teach from a young age for men to express themselves, because then they're viewed as weak or vulnerable. And then the worst thing that a woman does is, when a man does finally feel comfortable to be vulnerable around you, y'all throw it in their face in the heat of anger. And that is one of the worst things that you can do to a man. And then you're going to get mad that he's going and talking to the work wife or the kissing cousin from the family, because you haven't made or created a safe space for your man to come to you and talk to you about things. And again, that's us women just being dismissive to men. And I always say it starts from being little girls, on teaching little girls to respect, value, and appreciate men. And if you hearing all your life, niggas ain't shit, men ain't shit, you don't need a man, how are you going to love and uplift and inspire and motivate a man if you've never been taught to do that? I told my son, date a girl from a one person household and date a girl from a 2-parent household, and look at the difference of what you get, and come back to me and report to me. He's only 17 now, but I'm planting these seeds now early, so he can filter the bullshit that he's gonna have to go through with these raggedy ass hyenas. Because then I'm gonna have to deal with them when if he marries one. But at the end of the day, we have to teach our young girls and boys to value and motivate and appreciate each other. Because if that doesn't happen, then we're just gonna treat each other like shit anyway.
Exactly.
What kind of hyenas are they?
Raggedy ass hyenas.
Come on, RP. Yeah,
Can I
go ahead.
just let me chime in also? One of the things my sister was a New York City police sergeant, and so that's a tough job for a woman. And she's married and she keeps her family together. She's the matriarch of her section of the family, and we talk about a lot of stuff. She's conservative, and I like that about her. But one of the things I want to say is that men and women, and this is a problem with modern society, we are not wired the same. We are not, and a lot of women don't like to accept this. If a man and a woman, let's just say, I'm going to use a number. If a man and a woman have 100 bodies under their belt,
Right.
the situation with that is different. The trauma that a woman has with 100 bodies is different than what a man has. For him, it's a trophy.
Right.
His issue is going to be problems cultivating a good relationship with a woman. But her issue is the trauma that every one of those guys who destroyed her ability to bond to one man. The guy who gets up, puts his pants on, and leaves. The guy she likes that just looks at her as a piece of meat, and that's all he took from her, and he left. Women, every time I hear on these spaces trauma from any woman, it always has to do with a man being at the center of it. It's because that they've given away their virtue to some asshole. Men don't get traumatized by having sex for the most part, unless they were like underage school teacher messing them up. So it's not right in either case, but we deal with it differently because that's our nature. That's our nature. It's not good. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but women internalize that because of their anatomy. Men don't. And in this quest for feminism and everybody else to say we're the same, That's the destructive part because we're not. These are the conversations I have with my sister, you know, and we get into some deep stuff. And I kind of keep reminding her, I'm not saying one's better than the other, but men process those things a lot different than women do, and rightfully so. And when I find a woman who can get up and have steaming inside of her womb, put her pants on, and go home to her husband without any shit on that, that's when society is really set. Because I'd rather have a woman feel something than not. And too many women can just go from man to man without any impact these days. And that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
And that's not just a woman's fault, by the way. So I don't want to say that, but that's where we're at now. So I'll land it there. And I don't have to be right. That's just my thoughts on it.
Appreciate it,
I'll
RP. I'm
land
going to go ahead and put up the super chat from the Real Bravado Network. It says, my whole live stream this past week on saying black men, no one cares about your struggle. Men are only love when the condition that he provides something. Shout out to the crew dealing with this Black Man Unfiltered culture, lost in translation. Thank you so much for your super chat. And I want to ask y'all a question, man. Whenever we have conversations like this, and it seems as if when women want to be the lead in these particular situations, it seems as if they give up something. And to me, it seems like the empathy is the first thing to go. Jenny, let me ask you a question. When women want to be in these lead positions, do you find it that the empathy is the first thing to go as far as being a woman is concerned?
Um, if not the first thing, then it's definitely near the top because that's kind of the nature of leadership is that you can't be as empathetic as you would want to be. And being a woman, it comes more naturally to us. And so, being that to be a good leader, you have to be able to compartmentalize your emotions and sometimes be a little bit more cold than you would like to be. A woman is going to have to do that. And then, because a woman's not doing what she's naturally supposed to do, she's, of course, going to be more masculine. And so it's not a good look. But definitely that if a woman's in a leadership position, then her empathy is going to have to be diminished, if not entirely gone.
Caleb, next question. Do you think empathy is the first thing to go?
What type of lead are you talking about?
Any position, say for instance, women want to be the lead in any position. Say for instance, they want to be, as our pain say, partners. You know what I mean? And in certain situations, it seems like something is always missing. It's the ladylikeness. It's the empathy. You know what I mean? Trying to figure out exactly whether or not you actually care for your partner or not. Those are some of the things that most men have noticed whenever they talk about their particular trauma. What have you experienced in situations like that? Have you seen that?
Not necessarily. So like say if she runs the budget or whatever, right?
Right.
I don't necessarily think that the empathy would have to go away in that situation. If anything, I would say she'd be more hesitant to pull the trigger on anything because she's thinking about everybody else. So I don't necessarily think they're mutually exclusive. I think a selfish person is going to be selfish no matter what position that they're in. Um, but as far as empathy waning, like in general, is towards the opposite sex, then I would say that I can't. I would say that I do see it. Not necessarily in my real life because my circle is kind of small, but
Right.
with maybe like friends of friends, what I can see of it, like if I hear them talking and something like that, then I don't necessarily see the empathy there, but I can't speak to it specifically because I don't know what their situation is. I'm kind of trying to mind my business.
Right.
But definitely online. Online, I don't see any towards empathy. I don't know if they're like majority trolls or not. I don't know if they're like lightweight playing, but it's not there.
That's fair. That's fair. Trey, what have you seen?
Well, I don't think that empathy is the first to go. I think critical thinking and common sense is the first to go. They seem to lose their mind. Um, yeah, I have an issue with the word empathy because it's usually people usually interpret it as that you have the ability to understand. Well, understand means that you interpret or interpret something or how you view something. So when somebody tells me that they empathize with me, I usually laugh because if you haven't gone through it, how could you actually understand it? It's just an interpretation of what you see. So I don't think that you can empathize. I don't think women are really truly capable of empathizing with pretty much anything a man can. A man does, because most of them don't. We don't live the same lives. We don't live the same lives as women. We don't live the same life as us. I think you can sympathize. Sure, I think we can sympathize for each other, but I don't think that women are capable of empathizing for the man because the understanding is left to their own interpretation. And well, we know what happens when we leave women up to their own interpretation. So, no, I think critical thinking and common sense goes first. And that's typically why women who are put in those positions, they typically falter.
Hey, Trey, I want to add to that, man. I think you had some valid points, but I think it's reversed. Um, in the clinical world, we talk about sympathy and we talk about empathy. Sympathy could be you and I, we actually went through something. It's gender neutral. Men and women can sympathize. So, say if you lost your cousin, I lost my cousin. That's sympathy because we both went through it. But when it comes down to a person being an empath or empathizing with somebody, you made some good. I think your point is valid. If you look at it from a perspective of trying to understand how men think, but sometimes they might not understand how that man think, but they can empathize with him. So empathy is totally different than sympathy. Sympathy is when you both went through something similar. I lost my cousin, you lost your cousin. Men and women can both sympathize with one another. But when you empathize with one another, men or women can empathize with one another. An empath is a person that just feels sorry for the person. They might not quite understand it. No different than when your child come rub your head and they see daddy crying because daddy, lost his job. They don't really know the ramifications of you losing your job, but they can empathize. They can feel your pain. And so you don't really necessarily, it's a gender neutral dynamic. It don't necessarily have to be um, from a masculine or feminine perspective. But I see your point. And I like where you're going at. But I will say that that in this day and age now, because so many women have been taught to be selfish. I think what women had years ago, and I always said before in the past, black women were the greatest women ever. There was not a woman that was greater than the American black woman, in my opinion, from the past. Maybe your grandmothers and your great great grandmothers. But this monstrosity now, which I call GMOs, I don't know what the hell it is. It's nothing like the women of the past. Women that I remember from the past were more empathetic. They didn't have to know the kid up the street to scrape his knees. But she would tell that young man, "Get up, son. Come in the house. Let me wipe your knee off." But that wasn't her child. She might not even knew the child. But they had a level of empathy for humankind. But giving women power now have made women think they're better than men. Not all women think that way, but there's a percentage of women that think that way, and they confuse their roles. They confuse what they were made for, and that's why things get lost in translation. Pun intended, no pun intended. Because a masculine man ain't gonna put up with that BS. I know I'm not gonna put up with it because I don't have to. Masculine men ain't gonna put up with BS. They don't have to. Men, they got their money, they act together. Black men are getting their passports, they're traveling abroad. Once you get on women that are extremely feminine, it's intoxicating. And what women don't understand is that only thing men want, like Teddy said, I just want peace of mind. He says it's hard to find. Men just want to be treated good. But most women have not been taught to tap into the masculine of a man because they're constantly being in a masculine state themselves. That's why they can never have symmetry in a relationship. And that's why when a woman speaks life into that man is more inclined to go with a woman because the natural inclination of a man is to more or less reverberate being around a feminine woman. I call it a feminine oscillator, almost like a fan. When a man is under the unction of a feminine woman, it's very alluring. But most modern women, they don't know how to do it. Are there women out here that knows how to do it? Yeah, but they are far and few in between. And that's why so many guys are indifferent to most women in the West. They could care less.
It's not even looked at as a quality of a woman by the masses. It's not even looked at like as a quality to have for most women to have to be a lady. Right? To understand that y'all job is to nurture.
Right.
Right? That's what's wrong. Like this way, I like to compare it to like putting diesel fuel in a gas car. You know what I'm saying? It might look like it fit and it might look like it might work, but it doesn't. right? We, especially our people, we're trying to flip. We're trying to flip romantic relationships and family and things that actually work on its head because that's what other people is telling y'all to do, right? Whether you believe it to be right or not, it's other people telling y'all what to do. And it's just crazy to me how, like, what's a partnership? A partnership means both people are equally responsible in a relationship, and we all know that's not the case. Every single, if we can have arguments and discussions about what a man's supposed to do and what a woman's supposed to do, then we got to be honest with ourselves and understand that there's a certain pecking order when it comes to relationships. The problem is that everybody understands the pecking order, but nobody wants to play by the rules when it's time to play the game.
Thank you, Rick.
I wanted to ask the kosher clinician, do you think that the selfishness increased like it progressed as time went on when we became more individualistic as a society in and of
Right.
itself?
Yes, ma'am. I agree with that. Good times make weak men and women, but tough times make tough men and women. You look at the epigenesis of our ancestors from the past. We were tougher. We were mentally tough. We had your grandmama, your great grandmom had more common sense than most people now because they knew how to use to understand basic practicality. But also, what's happened? There's an old cliche that I use on my channel. It says that when the men are weak, the children rebel and the women take over. When you look at a generation of kids not being raised by masculine men, teaching them the virtues of masculinity, teaching them to stand on masculine principle, teaching them to not indignify themselves, then what happens when that happens, you have a generation of men that compromise their power. In the clinical world, we call it over identification. That over identification, Kelly, leads to something called internalization. It's called introjection. From introjection, it goes to internalization, then it goes to identification. And when those men become angry because their fathers weren't around, it turns to projection slash displaced aggression. So then you got a group of men that know that when you have masculine men that stand firm on their masculinity, they can't hear what those men are saying because they've never seen true masculinity. They've been taught and conditioned to think like their mother think. And a lot of times the way their mother think is not based on masculine principles or the dignity of a man. It's based on being a woman or being insular because women by nature are the master survivalists. They think inward first. A woman has a vagina to receive. Men project, women receive light. They receive light and life. But men by nature are doers. It's our nature to fix. That's why the old cliche has always been that men by nature are the natural romantics. We're naturally romantic. We're naturally the givers, no different than the phallus that a man had. But women of old knew how to condition the dark side of their female nature for the greater good because they were God-fearing. But this generation now is devoid of anything like that. And that's why technology has made them that way. Social media has made women that are average think they're 10s. And it's caused a lot of disruption in relationships.
Kosher clinician, can I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that some of what we're seeing is actually inevitable? Just looking at human history, as societies were advanced, the more advanced the society,
right,
a lot of the similar behaviors happened. That societies fell because
right.
They became comfortable, and therefore the men became weaker. Whereas, like you said, when the harder the times, the tougher the men and the women were. So, is this inevitable? And is there, has there ever been in a society, or can we even stop what's going on as the world keeps advancing? So is this even something that can be reversed?
That's an excellent question. The media many times, brother Mr. Bennett, it dictates the affairs of men. Men have been socialized, men and women, through negative socialization. Socialization of the past was mostly positive. But we live in a culture where the socialization is very negative. If you guys grew up in the 90s, like I did, we had greater images of Black excellence. I would say Gen X, in my personal opinion, was a generation that saw the good and bad. We got the old school from the traditional side of the boomers and the silent generation. But then we got some of the little bit of the progressivism. Gen Xers can remember when men and women would date, what's your name and all of that. But as things begin to accelerate with aggressive feminism, with the Me Too movement and all of that, and women becoming more sexualized, it just took away the innocence of what was of the past. And you're correct. Every generation reaches what's called a crescendo, or it reaches an apex. It goes from being God-centered to more or less hedonistic. Once it gets to hedonistic, it's something called entropy. It tends to break down from within, and then it has to reset itself. America right now and the world in general has to go through a reset. And all those women that said they equal the men and want to be strong as men, they'll never say that when the barbarians come. When you got men coming to the villages, raiding and with guns, massive guns, raping, I can't say that word, raping and destroying, you won't hear those women saying I'm equal to a man then, because the natural nature of a woman is to more or less cleave to a man. But I think a lot of the innocence that women had from the past has been rooted out of them for a root very amount of causes. It's for a myriad of different causes, but I think the innocence that women had has been taken away from them for a myriad of reasons.
Right, but that's what I'm referring to. Again, even ancient societies, the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians, the what have you. Again, who were considered the advanced societies, especially in Egypt. I mean, they were at one point they were like the technological center of the world, and then they also fell. So again, as a society gets more advanced, as you go from third world to first world, as you become more relying on your science or your tech or your philosophy or whatever, moving away from a God center, as you said earlier. Is it inevitable that society ultimately, as you said, atrophies and dies?
Yes, it's inevitable. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're correct. Yes, it's inevitable. It's the law of diminishing return. I think we are there now. I've never seen the world this crazy before. I've never seen relationships as screwed up as it is now. I've never seen a generation where men don't stand firm on masculinity. There were times in my life with my family, if I had to more or less listen to my wife, our family would be in a world of trouble. And I'm not saying that there are some things that a woman can bring to a man and add value. I always see the man is the king of his castle, the woman is his queen. The woman serve for a man on the front end, the man on the back end serve as a woman. The greatest gift that a man can give a woman is his life. And so what women don't understand is that, like Teddy Pendergrass said, you inspire me. When women are constantly cheerleading for that man, when that woman is constantly pushing that man to greatness, that man will give that woman the world. But sadly, instead of women making love to their men by making love to his mind, because women always say, who's protecting us? Well, I always say, who's protecting his mind? Because see, if you protect his six, which is his mind, he'll protect your six, which is your body. But women have lost the art of protecting the mind of a man. And that's why so many men have become indifferent to relationship. They don't see the necessity of getting married. Now, I will say there's an emerging trend, Mr. Bennett, is going on, and they're called trad cons or trad Z women. Generation Z women are actually trying to go back to being more traditional. Now, one will ask the question, are they doing it because it's genuine, or are they doing it because they see that because inflation is on the rise and they want to be home and be with them with their children, let the man try to handle the affairs outside of the home? But that's a question to be pondered, nonetheless.
It's not for me to ponder. They're chameleons. They're faking it.
Yeah, I can see that, Trey. I can see that. I think some of my Trey.
The fact of the matter is that they haven't been given the skills to survive.
Right.
And so what they have to do is rely back on the
yes,
man.
sir.
And that's what they're
yes, sir. I believe
because if it was in them, it'd be in them.
Right. Right.
You see
I
what I'm
can see
saying?
that. I can see that, Trey and Rick, because you're correct. There might be a percentage if they were taught right, but I agree with Trey and Rick by and large. Women by nature are master survivalists. They were transformed like a Decepticon in a heartbeat when things get tough. It's in their nature. Women by nature love opportunistically. Men tend to learn based on reason and duty, but they don't love that way first unless they've been trained that way. That's why they said, the gospel said, let the older women teach the younger women. But now the older women trying to shag it like the younger women. You can't, the older women ain't teaching the young girls.
There's something that y'all didn't pick up on. He said Decepticon and not Autobot. For those of y'all who don't get that was a lot deeper than y'all understand, because a lot of y'all don't understand Transformers. But he said Decepticons. Decepticons were the bad guys, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that. So there's a reason why he used Decepticons and not Autobots.
Right.
I mean,
so let's stay on point though. See, one of the things I think that we have an issue with is that we forget that men and women look differently through the prism of their experiences, and it's different. Women have been trained to think that the way men and women think should be the same and equal. It's not true.
Right.
So when a woman says the word partner, they mean it's something entirely different than what a man is stupid enough to call a woman his partner.
Right.
Right? Because listen, I'm gonna use Ebony K. Williams as an example. I saw her new recent thing on Earn Your Leisure. I'm starting to get a little bit more respect for her because I understand where she's coming from. She's a 1% woman. But if you look at that whole uh, podcast, she never uses the word husband,
Mm-hmm.
but she wants a man in her life. She uses partner and she uses companion.
Mm-hmm.
She wants a man who will agree with her bullshit.
Right.
Actually
Mm-hmm.
agree to be with
Mm-hmm.
her
Mm-hmm.
and her kid, because I think she successfully has a surrogate baby coming. She
Mm-hmm.
hasn't said that, but I think
Right.
if you listen to it, I think it's coming.
Right.
So, but she's not alone. So a lot of women who, and here's where I don't bother. Here's where I don't have a problem with her. She's been such a boss babe. She's telling you that if she had a husband, she couldn't be able to submit. Not even, I hate the word submit. She could not be able to acquiesce or give up her position of power. That's what she's telling you. So she'd rather have a partnership or a companion. So I said, why don't you just write a partnership agreement? You do this, I do that. You could come over and bust your cheeks 3 days a week or whatever the hell it is. And we can, share expenses. We can do it all. That's what she wants. That's what I mean, it sounds crazy, but that's exactly what she wants.
It's what she want or what she need.
No. It's both.
Is it?
So we don't need to make her need or want what we want
Okay.
as men. We
Okay.
have to understand where she's coming from.
No,
She
we
makes
don't.
$1 million
No,
No,
we
we
a
don't.
year.
don't.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
Hold on.
No, we don't.
Let me finish. You guys can say what the fuck y'all want to say when I'm
Mm.
finished. So I'm tired of arguing with women with what they want. She's telling you what she wants. Why try to change her into something that we think she should be? She wants a man who's agreed to her partnership, to agree to be her companion. And if a man wants to do that, you write a partnership agreement because that's what she wants. Because a marriage is an agreement, by the way. If you don't have a prenup, the state has one for you. That's true. And so you write this shit up and you figure out how you want to live together. You don't have to live in the same house. Hey, honey, you can come over, bust a cheek Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And, you could do this. I'm telling you how it's going to be. That's what she wants because she is never going to submit to a man. And why should any man try to force her to do that? Why would I marry somebody I got to force her to be the
Exactly.
kind of woman I want?
Right.
Right.
So
Or
so
write
if you
up
got
or
so if you
write up
got
an
to force
agreement
it, so
to.
if you got to
So
force it, why
what
you
I'm
need to
saying
write up
is
an
men need
agreement?
to understand that there's certain women. Here's another thing she said. I'm mad to hear. She said black women at a certain level has priced themselves out of the market. She said, I said that before. It came out of a woman's mouth, and that's true. A lot of women, black women, have priced themselves out of the market. Unfortunately, they don't all have to think they're rich like her. A lot of broke ass women have done the same thing, and we should give them exactly what they want.
Why don't we just ignore women like her?
Well, no, I don't. You should.
Great, problem
But not
solved.
every man's
No
not going to
partnership
ignore her.
agreement needed.
Let's be realistic.
Just
Every
ignore.
man is not going to ignore her, but you need to know and understand what you're going to get. You might ignore her, but I don't want to hear a man who cleaves to a woman like Ebony K. Williams. Don't come on the internet complaining about the fact you got a bad deal. She told you what she wanted from the beginning. Either
That's
you
the reason why
accept
she
her
ain't got no man.
or not. That's just my thing. Black men and men in general. If a woman ain't complying to what you want, ignore her and move on. That's what I'm saying.
You know
So,
what? I got a question I want to ask. Go ahead, Callan. I know you want to jump in there. Go ahead.
okay, I don't understand, and I'm trying to hear the men's out on this one. What is inherently bad or triggering about the word partner?
Let me explain it. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready, Cal? The word partner comes from egalitarian. It's a Marxist construct. It came out of egalitarian relationships. You mostly saw it in LGBTQIA relationships. Like I said, when I went to grad school, I never heard the word partner because in a relationship, a partnership means we equally have power. That goes back to what I said about the original sin, if you believe in theology. Ever since the fall of man, women have been jousting for power with their men. It says she will have a desire for her husband, but he will rule over her. Basically meant that she wanted equal power in the relationship. So partnerships mean we equally gonna make decisions. Instead of him being the leader and he disseminate information to the wife or he delegates information to his wife, he allows his wife to give intrinsic input into the relationship. He allows his wife to give input and use her natural talents and gifts, but it does not supersede his leadership as a man. So it's a liberal construct that many women, when they went to college, they got indoctrinated with it. And so it's something that was mostly used with white people, but black folks never said nothing about no partnership because black men and black women were both broken people. But I would never be no damn partnership. If I'm gonna be the leader, you're gonna follow my leadership. If you don't, like the old folks say, you can take your ass on. It's that simple. If I'm gonna marry you, I'm putting the ring on your finger. So therefore, I saw value in you. If I give you my last name, and remember, I'm traditional. If you're not traditional, I'm not talking to you. But if you're gonna get my last name, I'm gonna get my provision, and I gotta put my life on the line at any point for you because I'm trying to protect you, then you're gonna be under my leadership. It does not mean that you won't have a voice. It does not mean that I won't defer to you from time to time if your decisions or ideas are better than mine. I don't mind deferring. But at the end of the day, you got to run it through me. But that partnership thing comes from liberalism. It comes from feminism. And a lot of people are beginning to fall for it. And what they do many times, they compromise power. I see it many times with couples in therapy when men try to acquiesce to being a partner. And you can't be a partner and be a wife at the same time because one got to be a follower and one got to be a leader. It doesn't mean that the woman can't give input. It doesn't mean that the husband don't listen to his wife's suggestions and say, look, babe, I'm going to let you roll with it. But many women, once again, come into relationships broken. They come into relationships with a wall up, and it reduces the ability for that man to be the leader. Men, by nature, want to lead. It's just not our nature to do it. But women want to lead too. But they want to lead when it's convenient. They want to lead when it's convenient because watch this, Kelly. In a true partnership, if we live in the hood, if somebody breaks in the house, it's your turn to go downstairs and defend the house. It's a partnership. If the tire blows out on the side of the road, you need to get out of the car and change that tire. And I'm gonna sit in the car and be on the side of the road looking at Facebook. We're partners. We're gonna take turns doing this damn thing. But the problem, what happens a lot of times, women want to be partners when it comes down to power, but they want a traditional man when it comes down to doing the things they don't want to do. And once again, masculine men ain't gonna put up with that. I know I'm not gonna put up with it.
Hey, brother clinician,
I don't agree with him.
Callie Bev will go down there and beat somebody's
Hold
ass.
on, y'all. Rick,
You know, so
come on.
you gotta say that to her. Boy, Callie Bev is a tough one. She might go down there and beat him up. But I'm just trying to say.
No, I just think that
Callie
it just sounds like
I don't have an issue with it.
I'm sorry, brother. You're right. I agree with you.
When I hear a lot of this partner talk, I typically hear from older men. They are typically the ones who have the biggest issue with this word partner. I don't have an issue with the word partner. What I have an issue with is the distribution of power, the thought process behind it. If you want to label it as partner, that's fine. But I can go to a law firm and take you to a law firm right now where all the partners have their name on the wall and there's a managing partner. Somebody is in charge.
Right.
Somebody's in charge.
I see your point,
right?
Trey. Right.
Rick, you got next.
We can all play on the same team, Callie Bev. Chicago Bulls all had teammates, but there was a captain, right? Somebody is always in a leadership position, regardless of what the label is. So if you want to label it part, by all means, go right on ahead. I'm a Washington Commanders fan. And we just got brand new ownership here. Do you know what they call the guy that they go to all the time? They call him the majority owner or the managing partner. Why do they call him that? Because he makes the decisions. At the end of the day, he makes the decisions. So if you want to call it partnership, by all means, go right on ahead and call it partnership. But let's be very clear about the distribution of power and leadership, and that comes through me.
Right. It's an interplay of words because I hear women in traditional words use that word, Trey. But I got you, Rick. I'm sorry, Rick. But it's an interplay of words. Women in traditional cultures like the Philippines, they'll say partner, but it's become a culture universal. And so there are two schools of thought. There's a school of thought that say it based on egalitarian relationships. There's a schools of thought that say it and it's innocent. They don't mean it. They use it, but they don't really know the true meaning of it. They just say it because they hear it so much. But then there are those that use it and they mean what they say. We both gonna
They
lead in this
mostly mean
relationship.
what they say, brother. Let's not mince around the freaking words. The women mean egalitarianism. That's it.
Yeah,
All this
right,
other
right.
bullshit, that's what they mean.
No. But what I'm
I
saying,
believe.
what I'm saying, R-Pain, I agree. I see what you're saying. I'm saying there are women from cultures that I know from traditional cultures. They don't really know. There are women that I know they're traditional by nature. They believe in trusting their husband, but they don't. But when they say partner, it's like what Trey say. It's just an interchange of words. But when I'm talking about women in the West, a woman in the West when she say partner, it basically means we both can lead. You ask a woman in the Philippines when she say partner, she said my husband is the
I
leader.
agree.
That's all I'm
I agree.
saying. I'm sorry,
Come
Ricky.
on,
Go
Rick.
ahead,
I
brother.
agree. I'm
Come
sorry.
Go
on.
ahead, Rick. I
The
apologize.
issue is that I don't have. You can say whatever you want to say. It's your mouth, right? It's your
Right.
brain. It's your
Right.
relationship.
Right.
But the truth is, like I said, y'all be supporting a goddamn lie. It's not a partnership. It's about who's responsible for what. It's who you're gonna blame when shit goes bad. You know you're gonna blame it. For example, Callie Bev, my sister, you put that battery in, and if you're able to do it and you follow YouTube University, good for you, goddamn it. But if you would have hooked that shit up wrong, if it had shorted out the car, right? You'd have looked at it like, ooh, but then what you'd have said in your head? What you would have said in your head? You should have put the battery in Tuesday when you said you was gonna do it, right?
No.
That's the
Oh,
whole.
yes, you would. Come on,
No, I
sis.
wouldn't, because
This is what
that's
I'm
Come
talking
on,
about.
Callie.
unnecessary.
This is what I'm
Tell the
Oh,
truth
talking
that's
now.
about.
being unnecessary.
No, you listen to what I'm saying. You might not say it. You might not put it to his face, but that's what you gonna think. I don't care what nobody say. My woman, I love her. She's special to me, but she's still a woman. All y'all
Right.
still women. Y'all try to act like y'all the exception. I'm not the exception to the rule. I'm every other guy out here. I know what it is. This is what women do. This is what y'all do. Let your man not shovel the snow, right? And you slip and bust your ass. Why your motherfucking ass ain't shoveling snow? Why the electrician get? Y'all know y'all blame him. You might not say it in your mouth, but every time something go that he leads on, right? Every time something that you supposedly put, he takes charge of, and it go bad in your head, you be like, especially if y'all talked about it and you was against it. It's about who's gonna be responsible for what. And the truth of the matter is, and like I said, everybody's except it's never anybody on these fucking panels. You guys are the most exceptional black people I have ever met in my entire life. I have been to 4 countries and every state in this union, and you guys are the most exceptional. Get the fuck out of here. Y'all know what y'all do. That's just the truth of the matter. And if that's the case, if I'm so far off, why is when society and shit goes, when you hear a relationship go out, y'all say, what did he do? When something go bad, a man could take his, listen to what I'm saying, and y'all tell me if I'm lying. A man could take his wife flowers to work, and people at work be like, what did he do wrong? Am I lying, fellas?
No, you ain't.
What he making up for? This
sometimes
is how y'all
sometimes
think.
they'll even blame you if
Right.
if they just said that they were going to do something and they didn't do it. They find a way to come at you sometimes. You
Right. So
you said you were going to take the check to the bank, you didn't, and you'll turn it back. Well, you had a chance to take it too.
Right. So why do we continue to live in these lies? The reason why I'm successful in my relationship, because I understand how women think. And my woman is one of the best women I know. That's why I fucking married her. Stop fucking lying. That's all I'm saying. Please stop lying. It's cool that y'all think this way, because if y'all was actually who y'all say y'all were, right? And if y'all was so emotionally available and so well communicating, y'all be able to show y'all man who y'all are, and he'll know how to handle y'all accordingly. But nobody ever want to have these conversations.
I get your overall premise, Ricky, but no, I wouldn't have blamed it for the car, because I'm the one
Cap.
that put the battery in. I'm the one to put the battery in. We're like, dang, I messed up. But I get your overall premise though, because any other time or whatever, and it was something that he was supposed to do and it messed up, I might not say nothing, but I'll just be like, because saying I told you so is rude, but it'll just be like,
You would have still said it in your head.
so what we gonna do?
You would have still said
We, you French
exactly.
now, huh?
We French like a bitch. You would have still.
We finna go down here to AutoZone to get another battery.
Como talibou.
It's
That's right.
cool. It's
But
cool.
Callie, do you agree with his overall point though? Not in
Yeah,
your specific
I said,
situation. but yeah.
yeah, I said I get his
Okay.
overall
Awesome.
premise. Yeah,
Awesome.
I get it. But
Now,
I've
Vanessa,
learned to
I'm
replace.
calling that out because again, in a lot of these spaces, again, sometimes you'll hear people just defend to the end. But that's what we need more people just to say, I agree with your point or your overall point. Not to go to this. Well, that's not every woman, that's not every situation or whatever. We can agree on general principles and points. There's always going to be exceptions to everything, but I think the conversation needs to be there rather than go into the lone exceptions to say, hey, that's not every case or whatever. And then that just invalidates the argument.
And Callie, it's not triggering. That word part it doesn't trigger us. It's just one of those things that we know better. Like when I hear it, I'm like, oh, okay. I know that we're not partners. I don't know why you feel that way, but whatever. I know it. I know damn well we ain't partners.
I
You know how
think
much
more
snow I,
often
you know how
than
much
not.
snow I shoveled today? I ain't none of the women that's in my phone. They asking me to come to their spot to shovel their snow.
Cold in a
I had
bitch
to I had
outside.
to send them a
Cold in
silent
a hoe.
reminder. I'm not your dude. I'm not your
Cold
man. I
in a
ain't
hoe.
about to shovel no snow for you.
I know.
Vanessa.
I just think that more often than not, it is used how you were describing it. It's used interchangeably. I don't think they necessarily mean it 100% literally all the way across the board. You know what
But
I'm
Callie,
saying?
let me tell you what we as men sometimes make a mistake. Like I said, I don't have you want to use that word partner, fine. But as soon as you use the word, my immediate reaction to you is going to be who's making the final decision.
Right.
That's my question is going to be to you. You feel if that makes you feel good and warm and fuzzy inside, fine. I'm not going to fight you on that. I pick my battles, right? Fine, right. But I'm going to ask you, who's making the final decision here? And that's when it's going to dawn on you. Okay, this definitely is not a partnership.
Right.
Because if he's making a final decision, then we're not partners.
Right. Let me ask the ladies.
Sometimes I think we want to pound. We want to pound it into the
Let me
woman.
just
It's
say
like
this real quick.
make them think a little bit.
One of the things about this panel is that you have a panel of men who absolutely love women.
Right.
You're on a panel where, well, maybe besides Trey, but he does too. He's gonna
The jury's still out on Trey.
He's been on the quest for the right woman for the rest of it. He's got a list that's unbelievable.
Nah, I told y'all 2024 the year. I haven't had sex this year. It's still early.
Well, the only reason why I'm saying that
still early. But
the only reason why I'm saying that is that all the men on this panel are not your enemy. I know these guys. I don't know them personally, but I understand based on listening to them or not. We all try to find ways to say, "Hey, listen, this is what men are looking at from our personal experience, and something that's broad enough. It doesn't cover all examples, but for the most part, I mean, for a man like me, I'm gonna shut up on this one. Been married for a long time. The only thing that pisses me off is when people tell me I don't understand women. When I have two daughters and a wife that has never stopped being a woman for the 36 years we've been married. You know, I've been up close and personal sleeping with a woman for 36 years. And when somebody tells me I don't understand women just because it's 2024, that shit pisses me off.
Who told you
because
you
my
understand?
wife has never stopped being a woman. Never. And so I understand that I need to do certain things to make sure that I don't violate the fact that she's a woman. So I'm going to land it there. Just, you can take that for what you believe, but you're in a panel with men.
Who told you you don't understand women, okay?
Trey, you don't have to say nothing. You told me most of the time. I don't know what the
I
hell
have
I'm
never
talking
once
about.
told you you don't understand
You
women.
beat me up and down, you know. But that's all right. You my brother, man. That don't matter.
Never told you you don't understand women. I told you you
But
don't
here's
understand
my
the dating.
So
You don't
I'm
understand the
just
dating
land it
climate,
there.
which is different.
But no, forget about Trey. I'm not just talking to you. I'm just talking in general. The fact is that a lot of these panels, we can get that because there's men in red pill rage and all that shit. This ain't the kind of panel on the Black Man and Unfiltered Network. We ain't like that. We're trying to come to some kind of understanding as best we can and put that out there as a projection to both men and women. And when we talk about how we can make it better for everybody. But make no mistake, the men up here love women, Black women. You know, and let me just land it there. You'll take that for what you want.
And that's on Space Ghost. Listen, Anissa, let me ask you a question. You've been sitting quietly. I'm pretty sure you've had guys who've stammered over themselves to do something for you. Have you ever called up a man and said, "Hey, let me come over and shovel some snow because I feel like I wanna do something for you"? Have you ever called a man and said, "Let me do something for you"?
I have never called anyone and said I want to shovel some snow. Absolutely not. And it's not gonna happen.
Why? Don't you want to reach
No,
out there
no,
and do some yard work just like your
no, no, no,
counterparts on the
no.
video?
I had to do it growing up with my dad. I was there's an 11-year difference between my brother and I, so it was just me.
Right.
So I had to do a lot of stuff growing up. So I promised that when I became an adult that I would not be doing any of that, and I have not.
Come
So no.
on. Not even if your husband had a broke foot, you had to go to the stove, you wouldn't shovel the snow for him.
That's why they have people that do that. You just hire someone, but I'm not doing
What?
it. No.
What? Say if it's the
I gotta do
summertime,
it.
you're gonna get a little exercise. You want to go out there and cut that grass. You know what I'm saying?
I'm in Florida. You know how hot it gets in the summer?
That's even
Absolutely
better.
not. No, nope.
You
I'll
already
pay
got to
somebody.
pass on the
I'll pay
snow.
somebody $40 to cut the grass.
It always come back to
$40.
In 2024, I thought it was
Man, it always come back to
minimum.
$40. $40.
I'll
You mean
pay
That is
for it.
hilarious. It always come back to $40, don't it, Trey?
Let me ask you ladies
40 in the
something.
front, 40 in the back.
That's it.
Let me ask the ladies, Anissa and I think her name is what's the other young lady's name? Grace. Is that Grace? You guys look like Gen X. What year did you guys graduate from high school?
What was the question?
What year did you guys graduate from high school?
I graduated in 92.
Okay, 92. You Gen X. All right. How about you, Anissa?
87.
Okay. You look back. You back there
I'm
with
Gen
shit.
X too.
Right,
Don't leave me out.
you Gen X count? You look a little kid, man.
Don't leave the baby out. Don't leave the baby out.
You don't look a Gen X. You look very young.
I'm the baby Gen X.
Okay,
I
you the baby Gen
graduated
X.
98.
Anissa, did you say 87?
Yeah.
Shout out 87.
Oh, 87.
Right.
Yeah.
You look good. Y'all better give me
Anissa about there with a
Trey, stop.
But let me ask you a question, Anissa. But if your husband told you, he said, "No, baby, we're not gonna be spending money cutting grass when one of us can do it. My foot is broke, so I want you to cut that grass."
I've actually done it.
I'm not cutting.
I've actually done it.
You've done it. You've done it before, Grace. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was a girl dad, and my dad taught me how to cut grass, how to shoot a gun, how to fish, how to cook, and I lived in Florida, and I used it as an opportunity to tan, and yeah, I've cut it because I got tired of paying $75.
Right. That's my point. Right.
I had to cut. We even did the pool too. We started doing the pool ourselves too, and yeah. I'm not scared to get out there and get my hands dirty because at one time or another, you're gonna have to get out there and get your hands dirty.
Right.
But women nowadays are self-entitled and they think the world revolves around them and that nothing has to get done. But let martial law kick in.
Boom.
And when you can't,
that's what I'm talking about. Yes, ma'am.
let martial law kick in and you need to go get things to survive. Who gonna help you? A bunch of women?
Right.
Or you gonna go to a men?
Right.
I was writing here some statistics, and it says here police officers are 86.7% of the force, where females are 13.7. Firefighters 82.2%, where females are 11.8. Waste management 91.6, where women are only 8.4%. Oil rigs 5% women and 95% men. If we didn't have these men doing these jobs, where will us women be right now?
Right. But they don't see it. Right.
They won't notice that until it affects them directly.
Until it affects them. Yeah, I told. So you're Latina, aren't you? Are you Morena? Are you Morena?
Yes, I'm half Dominican, half Sicilian.
And that's my point. Latin women, they don't mind getting it in with their men. So you mean and that's why a lot of men are getting them Latin chicks because Latin chicks, they don't mind holding it down. They ride or dies. So you mean to tell me now I'm going to perceive, Anissa, that you're a bougie woman. You seem like you got a little bougie flavor to you.
I will take care of everything inside of the house, but I'm not cutting the grass.
But listen to what I'm saying. But if your husband,
I'm
no,
honest.
I love your
Kosher,
honesty. Go ahead,
Kosher,
brother.
ask her what kind of wine she drinking tonight.
She probably drinking a Merlot. But let me ask you a question. If your man said, okay, so let me ask you a question. So if your husband said, look, babe, I need you to do it. If you can do it, if you're suitable to do it, you got like a 0.3 acres. And he said, baby, go ahead and cut the grass. Because we trying to buy a house. And if you had younger kids, your husband said, we're not going to waste money when you can do it. His primary job is to do it. But temporarily, he said, I need you to do it. Are you going to respect your husband's leadership and follow his leadership and that dirty word, obey him? Or are you going to fight the power?
Obey.
Oh
Obey.
Well, first of all, you got to call me your partner. If you talking to
That's right. Partners do partner work.
You might be my partner, but you ain't elevated to be my
I'm
husband.
still wondering how Nissa water that plant up there. How tall are you?
Now you
Put
know
that
I
long
don't
handle
water
water
that
can.
plant. Come on. I think
Come on,
I've given my answer.
She said she gonna.
Said that's a big no.
Okay.
That's a big
I
no.
will,
It's a
I
big
will
no.
work overtime so I can pay to have the lawnmower man come
But-
over
but-
there and cut my grass until it
Right,
feels
right,
like
right, right. Though, see, but this is what I'm saying, right? Why do women have that understanding when it's something they have to do themselves, right?
Right.
Why do y'all have that understanding, but when y'all men do it, it's like, oh, he'll do it.
What you mean? He doing it for the free ski, right?
My point is, if your husband's constantly taking money
Uh-oh.
out of the family, and if he can do it himself, that's not managing money appropriately. Meaning, if your husband cut the grass, but he's going to hire somebody else to cut it, but he can do it. Me personally, I'm a white collar professional. I'm a licensed therapist, but I still get grimy. I still cut grass. I still wash cars. I still change the oil. I still fix stuff because I'm blue collar. I'm a blue collar brother with a white collar flavor. I'm highly educated. I mean, highly educated, elite school and all, but it does not preclude me from doing traditional work. That's why most men are not dealing with modern women and they're looking for traditional women. Women like embrace the grace. Women from other culture, they don't mind getting dirty with their husbands. They don't challenge their husband leadership. But their husband said, listen, I need you to cut the grass. Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. But you're not listening, dear. I said once again, if your husband said, I need you to cut it, it's not the fact that you can't do it. It's obvious that you can hire somebody, but obedience is better than sacrifice. So if your husband said, baby, I need you to do it, we're going to save this money and not waste money because it's wasteful paying people when you can do it yourself. If you're going
I have never cut grass in my life.
I understand that. I get that. I get it. You have never done it. But what I'm saying,
I mean, I haven't.
but what I'm saying to you, if your husband taught you how to do it, he's down momentarily. He customarily cussing himself. But he said, I need you to do it temporarily until he get back on his feet because he hurt his foot. Are you going to respect your husband and do it if you can do it?
If I could do it, yes, but I don't know how to do it.
Okay. If he showed you how to do it.
I'm just answering from an honest point of where I am now.
I respect that.
And for clarification, Callie, what I was saying is that again, isn't it crazy how quick the mentality changed when it's something that you don't want to do,
right?
And you would have to come out of pocket, right? But again, when your men do it, it's simply something he does. It's an understanding.
It's an understanding. I totally agree.
You see what I'm saying? Like y'all can, not y'all's the wrong word, but in general, right? Y'all can put that monetary value on the time, the effort, the things it would do to take that money, to make that money so you can be convenienced, but don't understand that from your man. The modern women don't understand the time, the effort, and the money that it takes for your man to be your man.
Right.
Okay,
It's expected. It's expected. It's just what he's supposed to do.
What he's supposed to do.
Well, doesn't that go both ways?
That's what we appreciate about you, though.
It does, Miss Jenny. You are exactly right.
We
yes,
appreciate
it does.
that about you.
Yes, it does. But isn't that the game, though? Isn't that the game? Isn't the reason why a woman should be with a man is because he protects for her, provides for her, he takes care of her, he's a good father, a good husband, a good man, right? And this is what I'm saying. Every single one of y'all know it costs. It costs you something to be with somebody. But what's the tale today though? Everybody, modern women want traditional men for free.
For the free
Right.
ski.
No.
For the low. For the one
free
thing,
99.
listen to what I'm saying. For the one thing, especially nowadays, ain't nobody chased. For the one thing that you can give everybody else, right? Don't sit up here and try to lie to me that the majority right now is talking about, oh, I want to be with a man. I'm gonna take care of my man. I want to bear and raise his children, right? I want to make a home. Is that the talk that's going on nowadays?
No.
But every man that's about his salt, every single, hey, I gotta have some type of job. I gotta have a place for my girl to stay. I gotta have a car. She gotta have a car. She gotta have a way to get around. These kids gotta eat. The baby need diaper and milk and shoes, right? Everybody's giving up something, but you can't have me as you. A good person costs you something. Don't let nobody fool you. It's the bad people that's cheap as fuck. They cheap. You got them all. Whenever y'all go out to a mimosa brunch, they always around. Right? We supposed to be giving to each other, plain and simple, short and sweet. Ain't nowhere in the world a man that's, I don't care what nobody say. If you supposedly you a good woman, you saying you a good woman, ain't no way no man supposed to come home to no meal, no clean house, and he paying all the bills and taking care of the kids and cutting the grass and shoveling your ass out the snow because you don't know how to drive up the driveway right. You know what I'm saying? What the hell is that?
We agree with you, Ricky.
I know.
Yeah, of course.
I hope
We
so.
agree with you.
Can I
Ricky.
tell y'all what millennial and Zoomer women would do though? If the man was down and the grass needed to be cut, she would just buy one of those robot lawnmowers online and then just that's new age women. That's the difference. That's what I'm trying to put you on, Harpain. That's what they would do now. She would just buy the robot lawnmower. She would set the robot lawnmower. They would find a way to get around it. They always will find a way of getting around it somehow, some way, without actually doing the actual thing that the man asked them to do. And I'm telling you that as a millennial, that these women, I have been hurt. I've broken my ankle, shattered my ankle, and was dating a woman and asked her to do something, and she tried to find a way to get around it. I was stationed in Turkey when this happened, and she actually hired some people to come in and clean my house for me that I had on base because she didn't want to do it. They always find a way around it somehow.
No, Trey, I don't disagree with that. But the only point I would ever make, and I'm not going to be long, is that I think women don't understand, no matter what generation you're in, that if you find yourself a man that is dedicated to you, he's going to be dedicated to you not only while you're alive, but when you're dead. I mean, listen, when he's dead. My wife doesn't only get the best of me while I'm alive. I'm worth more to her when I'm dead. The women don't make that kind of commitment to men, and we make that commitment to women all the time. And so I'm just saying, when I looked at her father and asked for him to give me permission to marry her, and when I looked at her and I said, "Let's be my wife," my commitment is higher than anything I would ever ask of her. And I said this before, and a lot of people don't understand. When my wife goes to sleep at night, she has no wrinkles on her forehead because all the burdens of life I have on my shoulder.
Right.
And it doesn't take anything from me because that's the way it's freaking supposed to be. So I'm just land it there. And it doesn't matter whether women agree with that shit or not. You're just losing out because you're not looking at men at the right way you're supposed to, because you want to be equal to these fucking guys. You don't want to be equal to a man because you're not.
Hey, R-Pain, I just switch to avocado butter
so
you can stick around
okay,
longer.
go ahead, brother. I'm done.
No, I'm
Can
saying
I say something?
just stick to avocado butter so you can stick around longer.
Come on, Grace.
I'm cooking with Rick tonight. It seems. Could it be, Rick, that the reason this goes is because we spend so much time teaching the men how they're supposed to be and treat women, and we don't take the time on how we're supposed to treat our men and what we're supposed to do. See, my father taught me how to deal with men, and I saw the example through my mother.
Right.
So everything my father was teaching me, my mother was already doing. So I saw I had to serve my brother dinner, and I was practicing while I was growing up. Even in Italian or a Spanish household, we take care of the men.
Right.
My parents were together for 37 years. I remember hearing him tell my brother, "You see your mom? She ain't going nowhere because I make sure I take care of all her needs, and she will never need another man or even think of another man. She ain't going nowhere, but she knows she's got a job to do in this house."
Hey,
Let,
hey, hey, hey,
let me
hey,
just
Grace,
add
was
this one before you go,
was
Trey.
your
Let me
mom a
just
stay at
say this.
home? Was your
Was
mom
my
a stay
mom?
at home?
Let me
Was
Yes,
she, was she,
just say this before
my
y'all
mom was
go.
a stay-at-home.
Yeah, my wife
Yeah.
has a job right now, but it just pays for the things that she needs. I'm gonna say this, and you might agree or not, ladies. She's not afraid of me. I'm not the boss of my wife. I don't need to be that. She has complete autonomy to be the woman that she wants to be. As long as it follows the program that we're on, I don't have no issues. She's a college educated woman. I don't put her in some kind of box and say, you got to do all this shit for me because I'm the man. I never have to say that to her. I trust her and she trusts me. And this gender war we have is based on the puppet masters that guide both of us. Because black men and black women, this is where Trey, when in the dinosaur ages, when I was like killing woolly mammoths and shit like that back in the day, you know, black men and black women, we used to love each other. I swear to God. We used to love each other, man. We used to go through all kinds of shit together. I can't believe where we are today. And that's where Trey helps me out because it's different. I mean, we used to love each other. I mean, love each other from the bottom to the top. And I'll land it there. And here's my age.
Payne,
My age gives me this because I can see back then, I can see where we are based on these internet shit that we're on now. And I'm just telling you, if I had a podcast where I could talk about how we used to love each other, you guys would be amazed. Because one thing I do know, I can spin a pretty good yarn. I could tell stories. I really can.
We
But
know.
anyway,
our pain,
but
our pain. I don't think that we don't want to love each other. I think that we don't know how. I think the millennials and
It's
the
been a minute.
Zoomers, we just weren't taught. Listen. I grew up with a single mom. There was no father in the house to say
Individualism.
this is how you love a woman, and I'm going to show you how you love a woman because I'm going to love your mother that way. There was no man in the house to do that. That's just my specific case, right? That's my specific case, right? But I had to learn from my uncle. I watched my uncle. My uncle was married, and I watched how he loved his wife, how he loved his kids. Okay, this is how it's supposed to be done. That's why I asked. That's why I asked Grace, "Was your mom a stay-at-home mom?" Because I think there's a little bit of an advantage when she's a stay-at-home mom to where she can actually give those children those lessons as opposed to the mom who has to go out and go work. I think something gets lost in the mix there because she is working. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that women work. Women have always worked, right? But I do think that there's something, things get lost. Like for instance, my mom, there were times she's working 2 jobs just so we can have a happy Christmas. You think some things aren't going to get lost in the mix there? There's some lessons that aren't going to get taught. You know what I mean?
But her having, I like what R. Payne said. I'm going to equivocate that to some degree. I remember the story of a Nigerian woman. She was a billionaire. She was a rich woman. But that woman said, just because I make money outside my home, just because I got my bachelor's, my master's, and my doctorate, that does not preclude my responsibility as being a wife. Many people think, and many men have been socialized to compromise power. That's why I say if I ever got married again, I would deal with a woman from Latin countries. She would definitely be a woman from South America, Afro-Latina, Morenas, or African maybe. But in general, I would never deal with women in the West, not because I don't want to, but they have not been trained and taught to be a wife. And that word train triggers people because men and women are both trained. The good book said, train up a child in the way that she should go. The word groom meant the men groomed the woman. You know, the word, there was the bride and there was the bridegroom. The father was supposed to give the man, the daughter over to the man. And the man was supposed to groom the woman under his leadership. And while not more or less arresting her development when it comes down to her natural talents. But many women come into relationships afraid because they think the man gonna be a tyrant, he's gonna be a bully, he's gonna oppress her, she's gonna be barefoot and pregnant, he's gonna be abusive, and they use that dirty word control, not understanding in a healthy relationship, there should be healthy control. But people always make things mutually inclusive, not understanding that there's good control and there's bad control. Bad control is when you locking the person up in the room, taking money, being verbally abusive. That's bad control. But good control is when a man tells his wife, listen, as my wife, I don't want you to go out dressing like that. And she might say, well, you're controlling. No, I'm not going to control you. I'm going to give you the power to make the decision yourself. But if you do it, you're gone. And people, so many times, they have what's called thinking errors. They have thinking errors called catastrophizing because they always equivocate one thing as being always inclusive. The word hate is not a bad word if you use it in the right way. There's a time for all things. There's a time for love. There's a time for peace, and there's a time for hate. But we live in a world where we're not critical thinkers. We always look at things through the negative lens. I'm a traditional black man. I'm highly educated, but if I ever got married again, my first choice would probably be women from Latin cultures. I love Afro-Latin women because they, in general, especially the one from the older school, they take care of the men. And if she take care of me, I'm going to make sure she's well taken care of. Any woman I deal with, she's going to be well taken care of. But she's going to follow my program. And I'm going to allow her to be a woman of virtue and then use her intrinsic gifts. But many men in the West have been so conditioned to serve their women that when men travel abroad, women abroad love American men because American men are more egalitarian or more understanding than men in those cultures. Men in those cultures, they don't play. They say one thing, they expect you to do, and you do it. But women in those cultures, they need their men because the infrastructure is totally different than the infrastructure in America. I need a woman that's going to compliment me. If she compliment me, I'm going to give her the world. As long as she's genuine, she's not doing it because she's trying to get something out of me, what I call fake femininity. But if she's a genuine woman and she's coming from a pure heart, what women don't understand, men are at their best when they have their cheerleader. When that woman is giving him and pouring into him, that man is more productive. But when women cause a man to be stressed out because she's combative, she's argumentative, she won't control in the relationship, that man is not as productive. Women have old understood that. And sometimes grandmama, she didn't necessarily agree with what granddad said, but she just faked it. But she got what she wanted. And now you got a lot of women singing that song by Patti LaBelle, On My Own. I'm drinking a glass of wine with a dildo and a cat. And it's sad it's their fault.
Why did it end this way?
What song is this?
This wasn't how it was supposed to be.
On My Own. Anissa know what I'm talking about. She from the New Gen.
We could do it all.
Yeah, Anita know what I'm talking about. We from Gen X, man.
Remember her. I don't remember her saying a glass of wine and a dildo. That's how
Well, I had to add that. But I had to add that.
Some words.
That was an interpretation. Okay, got it.
But a lot of them got dildos, wine, and the cat. Because they want to tell men what to do. Listen, I always tell women, do you want a man that you direct him, or do you want a man to be balanced in his leadership and not be oppressive, and he lead that relationship? Women by nature want a man that they can look up to. It's just in their nature. They might say they don't want it, but the most ardent feminists want a masculine man. They can say what they want to.
No man that they can tell what.
Exactly, I totally agree, brother.
I don't care.
I totally agree. It's right. It turns a woman on when a man check that ass. I'm not saying he's being mean all the time, but every now and then he says, listen, you need to go sit your ass down. I already told you what we're going to do. And that's it. And she might say, who you think you're talking to? I'm talking to you. This is how we're going to run this ship. You need to follow leadership. You follow leadership, you're going to be well taken care of. I'm going to be like Jaheim. You can have anything if you follow leadership, but it's going to come with a damn price. It ain't going to be taxation without representation. I'm just going to do what you say and tap dance and drag my knuckles. Because I hear me and Ricky sometime and R. Payne and Brother Trey, they say, well, I ain't going to say it because I'm scared of what my wife might say. I don't give a damn what my wife say. I'm the leader of my family. I'm not going to be oppressive in leadership. If I say this is how it's going to run, that's how we're going to run it. It don't mean I don't listen to her. It don't mean I don't take her concept into consideration. But at the end of the day, if I got to take the greatest hit, I'm going to run this ship. And if she don't like it, then, it's a lot of women out here looking for good black men. And so I'm not going to compromise my masculinity arguing with a woman because I know what my worth is as a man. And that's why I try to teach young men. And that's why I do what I do as a licensed therapist doing my stuff. I take clinical concepts and blend into urban trends. Men have more power than they realize because men are the arbiters of relationships. A woman that's a one can't get a man that's a one unless that man that's a one say, I want to marry you. So what women don't understand, they might say, I'm the prize. Well, you are a prize. But you could be a prize in the social aspect of things. But until that man see you as his prize, you'll never get a ring. Because women many times are asking a man when are we gonna get married? A man that got value, status, and money, he know what his worth is. And some women they struggle with that.
KC, can I say something?
Go ahead, brother.
Listen, it's funny, and you guys ain't gonna believe me. Some of the biggest arguments I had with my wife will make you laugh. One was she wanted a dog. And I said, I'm not getting you a dog, not for the family, not for anybody. And I told her before, I said, listen, there's you, there's my 2 daughters, and it's me. And you're asking me to get a dog. And I'm going to be the asshole walking that freaking thing.
Exactly.
I said, in my own house, I'm not going to be lower than the dog, so we're not getting a dog.
Right.
And that was one of our biggest arguments, I swear. And she understood because I put it that way. Because we didn't get a dog. We still don't have one. I love dogs, but I wasn't going to, because they ain't walking the shit. I'm going to be walking. I'm not doing that. So that's number one. Number two, we had some other things. She wanted to put TVs in my daughter's room, right? And both of them. I said, listen, if we put TVs in their room, then that means they're going to be cocooned in their rooms while we're here. So we won't be able to monitor what they're doing. She said, well, I need to have some break. I said, well, tell them to read a book. I'm not going to let her, I don't want TVs in her room. So we didn't get TVs in her room. I'm serious. This is the biggest shit. And so we don't have these big arguments because we were kind of meshing with each other. One day she told me the kids were hers. She said, these are my kids, they're my priorities. Let me stop you right there. Our relationship is the priority.
Right.
The kids will be taken care of if we have a strong relationship.
Right.
She never said that shit again.
Right.
And today we talked about butter in my goddamn biscuits. You know what I'm saying? After all this time,
Hold on, wait a minute,
butter on my goddamn biscuits, baby.
Getting them biscuit
I
butter.
love you.
Cornbread.
The whole goddamn thing. So I wish every man could get bliss like that. These are the biggest things we have. Can I look through your
the easy way.
Can I do all this other horse shit? We don't
Hang on,
have.
guys.
Get
Hang on, guys.
blessed with a
Before we
woman
go
that's
on,
trying to kill us? Is that what you're trying to say?
Go
I
ahead,
should get
Mr.
blessed with a
Bennett.
woman that's trying to
guys,
take me
before we
out?
go on, I know Mrs. Jenny, I know she's been waiting patiently for a while to get her points in, so I don't want her to be ignored. So, Mrs. Jenny, did you have something that you wanted to say or contribute?
Oh yeah. I wanted to give a little bit of pushback to Trey about something that he said a little while ago. How the kosher coalition, how he was saying that the pendulum is now swinging back to how a lot of young women, they're becoming trad wives and trad con is very popular. And Trey was saying that he thinks that that's disingenuous, but I don't think so, because I would fall into the category of trad wife, and so I'm in that community, and so I see a lot of the posts, and I'm seeing the wave that's coming of these new women, and I think that it's very genuine because women are natural followers. And so what was disingenuous was this feminism that cropped up. And so women had to be trained for decades into going out of their natural order to thinking that they wanted to be outside of the home instead of wanting children. They had to be successfully brainwashed for years on end into thinking that they wanted to be a boss babe instead of a housewife. And so now I think that due to social media being so prevalent as it is, and things like TikTok, where everyone is always documenting everything about their life, they're being able to see the stark contrast between the women that they've known who are in their 40s or 50s now, who sacrifice family life for the corporate ladder, and then they see the women online who are trad wives and housewives and very conservative, and they're like, I don't want that other life. I don't know why I was convinced into thinking that I wanted to spend 80 hours in some cubicle instead of being at home and having a husband. Like I still want a husband. Like they're just kind of, the brainwashing is wearing off, and I think that women are finally going back to where they want to be and where they're supposed to be. And so I think that the transition is genuine.
I don't think it's brainwashing. I think it's necessity of the economy. I mean, I think a lot of people, a lot of women go to work because the economy demands it. There's no way that majority of the women in the entire country are participating in the workforce in two income households just for the hell of it though. You know what I mean? Like it's been like it's been a requirement for quite some time or whatever. I think that, I don't think that anybody should be demonized for their choice. Now, don't get me wrong about that. No, not at all. If you want to call me a feminist, then I'm a true feminist in that form. Then you should be able to choose what path that you want to and not get any shit about it. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's necessarily a brainwashing thing.
Let me ask you
Jenny,
this. Hold on a second.
Jenny, where is it coming from? These women, these trad con women now that are in your generation and that are in mine, where are they getting it from? That tells them that this is the way they should be now. Are they watching their moms, their aunts, their grandmothers, and big sisters? Or are they getting this information because they see it on Instagram when they scroll through and this is what they think it's supposed to be?
Yeah, they're seeing it on social media.
So that's what makes it not genuine. It's not coming from a real place.
Social media.
That's why I say they're chameleons. It's not real. I read through a girl yesterday. She was 19. I asked her 2 questions. Messed her up. The first question, career or family? She said family. I said, would you get rid of your Instagram? You don't want no family, baby. Be quiet. You know what I mean? Like, these women today, everything that they're getting is because it's force fed to them when they're scrolling. And so that's what they're believing. That's what it's supposed to be. I'm telling you the next thing. You just had a video of a woman who has over 2,000 bodies talking about jobs that are unacceptable for men. That these jobs are not high-value jobs for men. This woman has 2,000 bodies. You are disqualified from talking. But guess what thousands of women see now? Hundreds of thousands of women see now. Oh, so this idea that these women that are younger are understanding these traditional norms and these traditional traits, well, I could understand it if your mama was like that and your grandmama was like that, and it was passed down to you because that would be the definition of tradition. I would understand that. But when you're getting it from social media, I'm sorry, I won't be fooled. You won't get me.
Well, for one, what's wrong with having an Instagram? I've heard that before, where it's like men will ask these women, like, would you be willing to give up your Instagram if you got to a relationship?
I'll be happy to tell you
That
what the
was
issue
going to
with
be
it
my
is.
question.
As a single man, I need to know where you get your attention, your acceptance, and your validation from.
Right.
Where is it coming from? And if you're telling me that you're getting your attention, acceptance, and validation from 18 likes and 56 comments, me and you not gonna work out, sweetheart. Right. Because the only place your attention, your acceptance, and your validation should be coming from is me.
Right.
So that's why I asked the question: do you need Instagram? Because if that's what you need, then go be with Instagram. You can't be with me.
Instagram got
That's
your
not what you
dead.
said, Trey. You said
IG got your
rid of your
dead.
Instagram. You didn't ask her if she needed it. You said, would you get rid of it?
Yeah, and it's like,
That's
Same
why
thing.
some round up
That's
like
the same
that.
thing. That's the same
I don't
thing.
get the
It's implied, Callie.
It's not implied.
Jenny,
The comments is not
explain why
implied.
you would keep
That's
it.
the
Why
same
would you
thing.
need it over here?
Why would you need to keep it?
Because you
see what I'm
enjoy
saying?
it.
You have it.
No.
Now, if you asked me to get rid of it, that'd be something
keep the relationship.
Jenny, can you tell me the number one dating app in the world?
I'm sure you're gonna say it's Instagram, but that's not for everybody. So that it's not inherent.
Can I slide in your DMs right now, Miss Jenny?
No, you couldn't.
So you don't have Instagram?
I have Instagram, but just because someone can send me a message doesn't mean I'm going to entertain it. I have
That's not what I
self-control.
asked you. That was not. I didn't. This isn't about whether or not you can entertain it, whether or not you would entertain it. I'm asking you, can I send you a message and ask you to go out to dinner, even though you're a married woman? Can I do that?
You could do that on the street. What does Instagram have to do?
No.
You absolutely can do that on the street. Stop it.
What?
Jenny, with all due respect, Jenny,
how many times somebody
you're
told
deflecting
you
a little bit.
you can't have friends?
I'm asking a straightforward
They say
question.
that all the
There's
time.
there's nothing that can be done about you being out on the street. If a man sees you and he thinks you're attractive and he didn't notice your ring and he stepped up to you and you said, "Hey, I'm sorry, I'm married," that's completely different. right? But in the Instagram space, can multiple men who see you and think you're attractive, can they send you a message?
Yeah, they can.
Okay.
Right.
Do you need that? You're a married woman. Do you need that?
No, I'm not inviting that. I didn't ask for that.
It's not about inviting.
No, yeah,
It's
right.
not inviting.
Now hold
Right.
on a second. Hold on a second. Now, Trey, to be honest, have you seen Jenny's Instagram? She don't have her butt cheeks on the counter in the bathroom
That's
or
not
nothing
the
like
point.
that.
It
That's
don't.
not the point.
It don't matter,
That's
Loss.
not the point. It's the
I've
access.
seen
It's the
Christian women.
access.
It's the
I've seen
access,
Christian
really.
women who are fully
Yes.
clothed get hundreds of DMs.
It's the
If a man
access.
thinks you're attractive, he'll send you a message. Now, whether or not she chooses to entertain it, I agree with you, Jenny. That's your choice. And as a married woman, I would imagine that you don't. But the problem is that what I have the biggest issue with is where married people put themselves in single situations. If you're not single, you shouldn't be there. Instagram is for single. Really, it's for single people. It's a dating site now. It's a dating app. Whether you want to say it is or not, it's a dating app.
That sound like that sound like a personal problem. That's not my problem. Okay, so now,
What's your husband allowed you to do, Callie
Callie
Bev,
finna come out here, okay? Just because I may be attractive, don't mean that my DMs is blowing up. My DMs is dry as hell, and I'm not necessarily all covered up, but I'm not necessarily there with my ass out neither. Dry.
Can I ask a question?
Come on, JT.
Ellie Bell and Miss Jenny. Out of 100 women, if they were asked to give their man their cell phone, so he can go through it and so he can check their Instagram, Facebook, or whatever, out of that 100 women, how many women do you think that will oblige that?
That's an excellent question.
What kind of 100 women you asking? You asking the 100
All
thotties
y'all.
with
All
asses
of
out,
them.
or are you
All
asking
of them.
regular people?
All of them. All of them. You a good
Not
girl that
all.
don't want to get rid of her Instagram. All of them. Every single one of them. Y'all,
I'd
you
say
are not
about
the
75%
exception.
would get. I say about 75%
Listen,
would
I know
be
y'all hate
apprehensive
this.
about giving up that phone.
I know y'all hate this. Y'all not special. You're
I mean,
not
but there's
special.
nothing inherently wrong with having
No,
an
listen to what I'm saying. No, Miss Jenny, please, with all due respect, right? This is what y'all do, right? Y'all solo yourself out of the conversation because you're you, and this is not gonna happen. That's not the point. The point is you're allowing access to you when you have a man. Yeah, you might not answer the DMs, whatever. I don't care. That's not the point. The point is that if your man asks you to get rid of it, would you? If my wife told me to shut my Instagram down, ain't no women sliding up in my DMs. You know what? Because most women don't approach men. Is that a fact, or are we making that up?
Right.
Are we making that up? Okay, right. So let's stay there. Right. So again, if your man asks you, you're married, right, Miss Jenny? I mean, you got MIRS, right? We know Callie got. You know what I'm saying? If your man asks you to get rid of your Instagram, would you?
Yeah, if my husband asked me to, I would, but I'm not just going to give it.
That's all I need to hear.
I mean, that to say that I can't have an Instagram because of temptation is like to say I shouldn't go to the grocery store because
that's not what we said.
Right.
But
what they're saying.
What you asked was not the same thing that Trey said initially. He said, he said something about get rid of your Instagram. There was nothing implied about the man coming and asking the woman to get rid of her Instagram.
Well, why else would I want her to get rid of it?
You didn't say get rid. You know what, Trey? Go ahead.
Listen.
Go ahead.
I know what Trey. I know what. Listen, guys. What Trey and Rick and what all the brothers are saying is this: masculine men don't want other men to have access to their women. Men are very territorial, and I agree with Trey and Rick. If you're gonna be my woman, you're not gonna have access to a bunch of men because what it does, it makes the playing field unlevel. I get the benefit of having a traditional man, but women by nature love attention. Attention to a woman is like sugar. Not saying that men don't like attention too, but by default, women love attention. They love to be the center of attention. What these men are saying is that the only center of attention that you should be getting is from your own son, which is your husband. He should be shining on you brightly. But what some women do, and I've seen it, when they're having bad times with their husband, not saying you're doing it, Jenny or Callie, they get that stimulus response from another man. Slide say, "Oh, you're looking good," and all this, but they might not act on any negative behavior, but they love the attention that those men give. And what I'm saying is that it's cheating because all your attention and your affection should come from your husband, not other multiple men. And I agree with these men. If you want me to be a traditional man, if you want to be with me, you got to get rid of that damn Instagram. It's not unless it's business. If it's business and you're doing business, then that's a little different. If you selling products online, I don't care. But in general, my wife got one. And I mean, I think I check it from time to time. She'll let me check it. But in general, most men don't want other men to have access to their women. And I agree with these guys. I agree with them 100% because those old exes might slide in, and it always starts off innocent, and then they can turn into an emotional affair. They start having an emotional
and
affair.
it don't mean nothing when they do, unless she run it. Because if she gonna go, she gonna go. It don't matter if it's on Instagram. If it don't matter if it's at the grocery store. It don't matter if she having brunch with her girls. If she gonna go, she gonna go. All
Okay,
I'm
so
saying is I don't need the attention from Instagram. If I wanted some attention, I can just go to hell outside. It don't damn matter.
I think that
But you that 25% that you was just talking about though. You that 25%, you said 75% will not oblige. And the reason being is because they got a lot of disrespectful shit in their inbox. They got dick pics, they got somebody talking reckless to them, and what they doing is ha ha, LOL, and all of those things.
Right.
So
Right.
that's why they don't want that man to do it. And this is what we saying. When it comes down to it, Trey did he did put it in context when he said, or do you want to be a traditional woman married? And she said yes, and he said, would you give up? And all he did was say, would you give up your Instagram? And she got the stuttering and beatboxing and ad-libbing, and she
Right.
couldn't even give a straight answer.
Because the two didn't correlate. The two didn't correlate.
Oh no, they
They
correlate.
understood
No,
exactly
they
what
correlate.
Correlate.
she knew
Hold on,
exactly
y'all.
what he was
Didn't
saying.
correlate until
Mr.
he
Bennett,
said the
Mr.
man
Bennett, save
asked the
us, man.
woman to give up the Instagram. But me just being traditional and not having an Instagram, them dots ain't connecting.
You know
Okay.
what's
Yeah.
funny? Y'all are arguing for something that y'all would do. That's the crazy part. If your man asked you to do it, y'all would get rid of it. I don't even know why y'all arguing it.
The argument is that's not what you said. That's what Ricky said.
All right, Callie. All right, Callie.
You know what, Mr. Bennett, jump in here, man. You hear him, Mr. Bennett? What's going on, man?
Well, I think it's a valid question. I mean, me personally, I don't mind if my wife has Instagram. She's not on there like that too much. I think if I did ask her, she would get rid of it. But as far as the issue of guys feeling certain ways about it, it's really just about the deal that you negotiate. So if that's a non-negotiable for Trey or for any of the men on the lower panel or whatnot, the women have to deal with that. I think every couple needs to negotiate their own terms, and I'm not here to judge that.
That's what's up. Anissa, if your husband asked you to get rid of your Instagram, would you do it?
I don't even have Instagram, so it wouldn't be a problem.
She got
Absolutely.
Facebook.
I
Would you get rid of your Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, well, okay, well,
Absolutely.
okay. So maybe for Nissa and other women who are not on social media, if your husband asks you to get rid of, say, one of your friends, this could be your girl that goes back all the way back to, but he doesn't like her because she's always, putting stuff in your head, always saying some nonsense. You just don't like her, around, and you need to drop the. Even though you may go back in the day with her, would you drop her?
And how long?
I think if it was a negative friendship, it was a bad influence, and I wouldn't have a problem with. I
I
probably
said,
would
well,
do.
they're saying, but
I
you
would
may not
distance
think so.
myself
Yeah, but
probably.
that's that. What's that 4-pane window thing? That might be that thing where again you may not see it, but he does. So you're saying,
Mhm.
oh, me and my girl now we go way back. You're defending it, but he's just saying no, this needs to go. And are you going to capitulate to his demand, saying, look, we can't see each other because my husband is the one doesn't want me around you. Could you do that? Could a lot of married women have a lot of single friends, and sometimes those single friends, at least from the man's perspective, they think there's a bad influence. Would you get rid of those friends for your husband if he asked you? So I think the question is the same. It's about how much are you willing to accommodate your husband based on how he feels about something more so than your own individual feelings. I think that's the overall question, regardless if it's a community or a person.
I think again, I think if he felt that and that was the case, I would not have a problem doing it.
Well, you know, I like what Mr. Bennett said. He made a very excellent point because it resonated with me. You know, that goes back with the dichotomy between the partner and a husband. You know, the old school women said, you know, if you believe in traditional relationships and believe in the Bible, that's if. But it was about honoring and obeying your husband. You know, what I'm saying is this. I'm not saying men should abuse power. I'm not talking about men that abuse power, men that are idiots and say, well, I'm the man. You know, I'm not talking about that nonsense. But if it was within reason, if a man said, look, babe, I need you to do something. When a woman can learn how to give outside of her feelings, that's true love to a man because it's predicated in honor and respect. When women say, I'm going to do it when I don't feel like doing it, that's true love because it costs her something. And that's what most women don't understand. That's why in the gospel never told the woman to love her husband. It told her to honor and obey her husband because the love to a man is given outside of self. But it did tell the man to love the woman because men by nature don't mind giving women what's called eros love. It's that romantic aspect of love. What I'm finding many times when I do couples counseling is that many women can't give outside themselves. They always make the relationship about them. And what I see what's happened a lot of times in a relationship when I mentor couples is that the men are constantly giving, but they're always placating or giving to the woman based on how she
What are
feels. So the
four
man,
phases of love by Greek philosophy?
say again?
He was using Google to figure out exactly what Eros love means.
Oh yeah. And so
I was supposed to be on mute. Shit, you know what I'm saying?
Don't feel bad. We
You
do it
went to
all the
the
time.
arrows. You didn't look at the agape. You went straight to the
Yeah,
arrows.
but they're constantly trying to placate to their woman's feelings. A man's mission in life is to fulfill his purpose. It's God's purpose in his wife. The wife is a cheerleader of the man. Her job is to help him meet his purpose on the earth. But so many times, men find themselves trying to be the cheerleader of their wives. And I'm not saying that men can't root their wives on, but too many men are constantly chasing their women validation. And on the back end, they're frustrated because you can never satiate their feelings because feelings are very mercurial. It's like the wind, they come and go. But when you can love your man outside of how you feel and do it consistently, that's a disciplined woman, like the Proverbs 31 woman, 32 woman. That means you love your man because it costs you something. And that's what men are trying to say. Will you love me, like Avant said, till it hurts? And most women can't love their men till it hurts because it's always about how they feel. They never say, well, I know, but they always say how I feel. They're slaves to their feelings instead of being slaves to the mission. The man should never be a slave to his ego. But sometimes men can be slaves to their ego and women can be slaves to their feelings, which in essence is not the recipe of a healthy relationship.
Now I'm over here trying to fathom my husband saying I couldn't be friends with my day ones. Yeah, it's not happening.
He
If
said
they're
it's
not
gonna be you and me,
healthy for
baby.
you, why wouldn't you listen to them?
They wouldn't be day ones if they weren't healthy for me.
People change.
If they
That's
weren't
true.
healthy for me, they wouldn't be day ones and they wouldn't be around for no 20 some odd years. So with that being said, if he was talking about one of the orbiters, yeah, no problem. Go ahead. But you're not fin I've seen what cutting off somebody's outlet looks like or somebody's like your day one looks like. I'm not going there. I'm not doing that. Not happening.
You know, that kind of speaks to what Kosher Collision was just saying a minute ago. Women have a hard time giving when it hurts.
Right.
You ain't finna isolate me. Absolutely not. Nope.
What's
But
the fear of isolation? That's what I'm hearing. What is that about?
I'm not finna be no caged bird. I am a butterfly, and you are not gonna put me in a box.
Really? Kosher Collision, I
Absolutely.
need to weigh in on this one because I
Well,
already
well,
see how it's
well,
turning.
and listen, Callie, but the point is, you're looking at it from a deficit mindset. You're already making a false presumption that it's something nefarious, and it does not necessarily have to be anything nefarious. His intentions could be good, and so if your man is coming to you and say, "Listen, based on what I see, because men give provision, this relationship, these friends, quote unquote." Because here's my premise, and we'll talk about before we got married. If you got men friends, if those men don't learn how to fall the hell back when you and I become one, you'll never be my woman. And you might say, that's fine. And you're right, that'll be fine. Because I'm not competing with other men. And they might say, oh, you're insecure. Not insecure at all. I know what my worth is. I'm 6'6", highly educated. I can get women. But if you're gonna be on my team, I'm telling you, if you and I were friends and you dating another man, I'm gonna fall back out of respect to your relationship. A true man, if he respects your marriage and your relationship, he's gonna fall all the way back. But most men are not trying to fall back. Those men that you think are your friends, sometimes those men are not necessarily your friends. Can they be friends? Yeah. But some of them men are just waiting for their turn.
See,
And
now you
so
just switched it up. Now you're talking about male friends.
no, but you just said once again, you said they were my day one. So you mean to tell me if you had a good man that was willing to put a ring on your finger and make you his wife, and he told you if he saw something in those people, I understand your logic about what you're saying. You're thinking that he's trying to control you in a negative way or isolate you. I see I see your concern. But my point is, if you really know the heart of a man, you should be able to see a man that's a narcissistic man that's controlling in a negative way. Because remember what I said earlier, all control is not bad. If that man explains to you his rationale and he talked about it, and he said that's a non-negotiable, and you said we can't be together, you mean to tell me you're going to fulfill a potentially good man over a friendship? You'll put a friendship over a potential man that you're attracted to. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't see. See, hindsight is always 2020. So at that point in time or whatever like that, I wouldn't see none of the good stuff yet. None of this good stuff, none of the 20 years that I had already, I wouldn't have experienced that. I wouldn't have seen it, none of that. I wouldn't be missing anything. I'll go ahead and I'll stick with my day one.
Let me ask you a question.
You know
Hold on a
what?
second. Hold on a second.
Because you
Hold on a
can
second.
you don't miss what you don't know.
Did your day one come over to help you change your battery out?
Nah, but she told me how to
Go
search
ahead, Coach.
Yeah, but
my day one took me to the hospital when I was going into labor. My day one is always there for me with whichever way she can be, okay, outside of serving her own family, whatever like that. So no, it is this friendship, this triple ship, because there's three of us, is intertwined. It's been around since 1996. Like, it's them two people, they're not going anywhere.
Well, let me ask you
So
this:
her
if you
argument,
keep
why your guys
them
arguing is
around,
her day one is a woman. It's not a man.
It's not dudes. I don't have close
You know,
friends that
so
are dudes.
why-
No, that's why
But Callie,
she was pushing it.
I'm not saying you're doing that, Callie. But some of those women that are day ones, not saying your friends, some of the women are beaver bumpers. Some of the women are beaver bumpers. They get it in.
It's
And
2024, baby.
yeah, it's 2024. I'm not saying your friends are that way, Callie. I'm not saying your friends. But there are many women that have women friends that they're being intimate with. And some are, yeah, beaver bumping, man. So I don't know the heart of those
beaver
women.
bumping.
Yeah,
Oh my
beaver bumping.
gosh.
Yeah, I don't know the heart of those women. So
Okay.
I don't know what that
Those are
modus
cut
operandi is.
buddies. Those are
Okay,
cut
see,
buddies,
we're
sir.
really
Those are
talking
not
about
friends.
day ones that are men, right? We're really talking about day ones that are men, right? That's
No,
what
I
you're really
wasn't.
talking
Ain't
about.
No,
no
I
such
wasn't.
thing.
So
No,
we're
because the
talking
truth
about
is,
female day ones.
no,
You're
I'm
gonna ask
talking
me
about.
Yeah,
who's
I'm
I'm
saying
talking.
if
Listen,
the premise of the question was, again, since some of the women aren't on social media, but still, if your husband found an issue with one of your friends, day one, whatever it is, male, female, whoever it is, and they asked that you would stop being friends with them because there might be something that they see, which you may not, but nevertheless, they make the request. Would you capitulate to your husband's demands? Your husband, not your boyfriend, not this is the one who you pledged, till death us do us part with.
forsaking
If he
all
came
others.
with that,
Okay,
would
let
you
me
be willing to?
let me
Would you
just
be
say
No,
this.
willing to do that?
you
So
better
this
tell
is
me what the
this is
warning
one of those
is and tell me what
scenarios.
to look out for.
Well, hold on,
The-
Kelly. This is one of those scenarios that if your husband comes home at 3 a.m. in the morning and wants you to cook him a steak dinner and potatoes, where you get up. That's what we're saying, right?
Oh, no,
Because
I'm not getting up.
when we start saying so are we really worrying about a woman having a day one female friend? Come on, man.
We've
Come on,
had
let's
shows
get
in the.
this shit really. Listen.
Listen,
Most men are worried about somebody busting his goddamn wife's
no,
cheeks, not another
no,
woman
no,
licking it.
no,
I mean,
no,
stop it.
no. That's so
I mean,
disingenuous.
man,
No,
come
it's
on,
not.
man.
Come
Your
on,
Let's
Rick.
talk
job,
about
your job,
these
your
kind of
job,
goddamn experiments that we don't get nowhere.
your
I mean,
your job as your husband is to protect your wife from herself,
exactly.
right? So the
I
truth
agree.
is, and to reiterate, I understand what Callie Beth's saying. She has an understanding with her friends.
I
They,
understand, right.
you see what I'm saying? So
Right.
we To say we ain't nitpicking, I think that's a lie. Yeah, we nitpicking, right? But the truth is, most women don't see what's going on while they in it. And that might be your day one friend.
Right.
That might be your mama. That might be your daddy. That might be your sister that you always putting yourself out on a limb for while you over here jeopardizing this house for that house.
Right.
Right. So the problem is that why would you even see your man who you know and believe you married him? You trust him with your life, right? You trust him with your life. You trust him to protect you out in these streets. Why would you think that him removing you from a friend that you had is a bad thing when he has your best interests at heart?
Right.
Pretty broad stroke is like that. I can dig where you're coming from, Ricky. I hear you. But we
that's
got
the
to
whole
be
point of my
careful
question.
with the examples we make. I mean, because we can't get nowhere. Listen, when you guys are all familiar with the 3 a.m. dinner shit, right? How many, I mean, we talked about this, Trey. How many guys actually come home and tell their wife to get up or a woman to get up and make me a steak dinner at 3 a.m.?
It's not happening. It's a test.
So we got to be careful with these scenarios. Let's make them realistic. If my wife has a girlfriend, right, and I'm not thinking that they were muff diving, but she has a girlfriend. I'm not sitting down here worrying about whether her girlfriend wants to muff dive. I
But
mean,
hang on,
I
Trey.
trust
Hang on,
her,
Trey.
but
I'm
I
sorry,
can
not
damn
Trey.
sure if she had a boyfriend or a guy that she was with, and she tries to explain to me why he's just a friend, I would have an issue with that because he's got a dick.
Right. But
But
you know,
hang on,
Come on, man.
our pain. We have on this in this space. We have talked about shows where, again, if a married woman has single friends,
right.
and we've also talked about things like those girls' trips if they just want to go for a weekend somewhere, whatever. And most of the guys on the panel, it's like absolutely not. Now, again, these are your day ones, and if there's, so again, there's always been pushback when it came to those things. So why the change now?
I'm not changing. That's a move in the goalpost. But they talk about girls' trips. Day one telling my girl to go on a girls' trip with her, that's a different story than her having a girlfriend that she's a day one. Now we're giving the scenarios with a little bit more context. If her girlfriend who's single wants her to go to Bahamas so they can go, and grab the long dick Johnson, no. But if she just has a
I
girlfriend,
wasn't going to put that one in our opinion.
well, hey, listen,
I'm just saying if they just wanted to go.
let's spade what we spade. This is what we're afraid of. That single woman is going to take your wife and make her into a closet whore. I mean, let's just say what it is. So
It ain't just
I'm
that.
saying, there's got to be context to the scenarios. If she has a girlfriend that I know, that she knows, I'm not going to necessarily worry about that person unless she proves herself to be unworthy of my trust as her friend.
No,
You
but
know what?
it's
Let me.
more than just that.
Arpain.
It's more than just that. It's
Arpain.
more than that. Just that, Arpain. You have women that have friends that are very bad decision makers in their life, and they always end up impeding their lives on the girl. And this is why most men will look. They will look at that friend, and he say, "This is enough." Because you know why? You know how he know a lot about the friend, because his wife is complaining about her to him. You got those type of friends that they have, but they've been together. They've been friends since they was in goddamn kindergarten and shit. And she don't want to let her friendship go. Every time they go on a damn trip, when she was single, they went on the trip. Guess who ain't never had no money? That day one. She was the one that was over there on the dang on the boat ride with them, and she the only one that got to stay in her room now because ain't nobody gonna give her no damn money because everybody done loaned her $20, $50, $100 already. That friend, that's the one. They ain't always got to do all that other shit.
JT, I agree with you, but
she also
moving the
told us who's
goalposts.
the biggest hoe too.
But
Who's the biggest hoe out of her?
I'm gonna say this. Not gonna roll in a minute, guys. But I'm gonna say this. But it goes back to what Mr. Bennett was saying. It goes back to forsaking all others. Sometimes it's one thing if you got single women that are married and they're traditional women that respect their husband and their husband's leadership. It all goes back to forsaking all. Bridegroom and the groom. The groom is to groom the woman to meet his program. If a woman is saying, I'm not going to do it, ma'am, you just don't qualify to be my woman. And that's fine. You can stay right with your girlfriend and flow. Many women want the benefits of a marriage, but they don't want to follow leadership.
I agree with that.
And I don't think nobody our pain is asking a man to, you got to vet that woman. But sometimes our pain, because I do agree with you about her being influenced with another man hitting it. You're correct. That's a more primitive mindset. But a sophisticated mindset is this. Sometimes that woman can be putting poison into her mind because that woman is jealous of that relationship. And she's jealous. So sometimes that woman can be a more deadly assassin than that man putting his meat in it. So my whole point is my job as a man is to protect my woman on all damn aspects. If you're gonna be my woman, you're gonna follow my program. You don't. You ain't gotta be married. You can be by yourself. But it ain't gonna be no damn tap dancing in the marriage. You're gonna follow leadership.
I agree with you, but that wasn't the context of this whole scenario. I mean, listen. If the context of the scenario started about a woman who's your friend, who's a whore, and some wayward chick, and she was your best friend, I can dig it. But maybe I missed something. We just started talking about a woman that she had as a number one who we didn't want her to be around. So I missed the context that you're talking about. Listen, I just talked to my daughter. Let me just say this. I just talked to my daughter. She was out with some relatives. They're all single, right? I told her, listen, I need to talk to you because these women, I don't want them to tell you that any bullshit that I don't want to, I would talk to her about that because I understand where you're coming from. I had two cousins of mine who are married, told my daughter that she doesn't need to get married. I got into their asses so hard. I said, you guys got husbands. Don't ever fucking tell my daughter that, right? Because you got husbands, whether they're not successful marriages or not. Don't tell my daughter that shit because you guys got husbands.
Did you hear what I said?
So if we're talking about that, yes. Let's be specific about it. That's when we need to come in. But you can't just tell a woman, hey, listen, I don't like your friend. You gotta have context behind it. Your friend is a whore.
Didn't I say they weren't healthy? If your day ones weren't healthy, didn't I say that? If your day ones weren't healthy?
No, I missed that then. Because maybe I just came in because I was talking to my daughter. I didn't hear all
Listen,
this.
Callie Bev got y'all food. If that man says she can't have no friends, she ain't gonna have no friends. Okay, she got y'all food.
Callie Bev fronts a lot. Her husband's got to be a champion because she talks a lot of shit on these
Them
panels.
peripherals, them orbiters, yeah, sure. But being that those friends came with me, he knows those friends. And the friends come with the package. So if the package is bad, return to sender. Okay?
You know what?
No,
Here's
Callie,
If he feels like, go ahead, Trey.
If one of those friends changed up and was a bad influence on you, and it was affecting y'all marriage, as a man, he's gonna deal with it. And if that means that you can't have that friend no more, that's exactly what it means because it's affecting y'all marriage. And you can say that now because that's probably not the case. But if that friend is influencing your marriage and in a negative way, as a man, he's gonna step in and say, nah. Because this is affecting us. Now, am I right or am I wrong on that, Callie?
He had 6 years to see the friend package.
The question. That did not answer the question. Listen, I'm going to add another nuance to this particular situation. Okay, I don't know if y'all seen this commercial before. It's a Jeep commercial. This is a boy who has a bucket, and in the bucket he has a fish. You know what I'm saying? And his mom was like, you got to take the fish back, so they trekking across the woods or whatever. And they want to put the fish back in the lake where it belongs. Sometimes we keep our besties and day ones like that little fish in the bucket. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that fish needs to go on and be free so they can have their own little fish families and fish friends. You know what I'm saying? But we want to hold them back because they hold a sentimental value to us. Sometimes when you get married, it's time to let the fish go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's time to let it go. And the time that you would have spent with your best friend would be more spent better solidifying your primary relationship is with your husband.
And lost in translation, if she's a true ride or die, she'll understand that. But that's why I said, man, I could never deal with women in the West. I ain't got time to be damn arguing with no woman. If you want to stay with your friends, go stay with your friends. Right, that's my point. A real woman gonna fall back and say, okay, I respect you in your marriage, because if you got a good man, Callie Bev, taking care of you, if you got a good man, y'all living good, trust and damn believe she gonna be jealous of your success. So you don't know what she might say, hear me, you don't know what she might be trying to put into your ear to change the trajectory of the relationship. you might be a solid ride or die, but women are very fickle. They can be very fickle. I got 3 sisters and I got 3 daughters. I know how women operate and think. They'll say one day I'm thinking one day, they'll change their mind the next minute. But my whole point is if she's a true ride or die, she's gonna fall back. If that man's a true ride or die, he says, you know what, you married, I'm gonna respect that. But there are women that are single, they might not have what you got, let you pass away. And them same women be in your husband DM trying to holler. Trust and believe. Because women can be damn very trifling. And back to the point about someone say if your husband asks you, would you cook him a meal in the middle of the night? That proves my point. It costs you something. If your man says, look, babe, I'm hungry. I want some eggs and bacon 3 or 4 o'clock at 3 o'clock in the morning. You say, I'm tired. But my whole point is if you really love that man, you don't mind getting up in the morning and doing it. Because on the flip end, you're doing that act of service, which might be part of his love language, acts of service. He might say, you know, my baby don't mind doing this for me. So I don't mind getting her the ring that she wants. I don't mind paying for the trip that she want to go to. But my whole point is women want men to pay the most extraneous things. But something simple as cooking your man a meal in the middle of the night, I'm not doing that. So guess what that tells me? You not you, but in general, if a woman tell me that, I'm not talking with you, Callie, she doesn't qualify to be my woman. Because you can't love outside yourself. You're not willing to sacrifice for the greater good of the relationship. I'm not talking about a man that's constantly doing it. He's telling you to get up all the time. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something intermediate. When he said, look, babe, I need you to get up and cook me a meal in the middle of the night. Because he might be hungry. And you say, well, I ain't going to do it even when it comes down to sex. But see, women in other cultures, they don't mind doing it for their man. That's why men are getting passports and traveling. Because they want traditional women. They don't mind giving outside of themselves. But women in the West, they want to be married, but tell the man how to be the leader. That would never work for me. Because a woman's not going to tell me how to be a man in my marriage. Either she's going to fall in line or she can take her ass on. It's that simple. I'm not going to argue with you. You can go take your ass on because I'm going to be fine.
You know
Callie
what, Coach? I
lying.
just
She
thought
getting
about
up.
I have
something.
a little bit of
Callie lying.
pushback
She getting up.
for
You
this
got some
gentleman.
pushback from Coach Collision. Come on.
Just a little bit. Because although I understand your point, I also think that you as a husband have to be sensitive to your wife. Now, what if you want her to get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, but she already has to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get ready for work if you have your wife working? Do you mean to tell me you're not going to be sensitive to that fact that it's out? Because at that point it becomes about what you want and you're not considering the wife.
Listen.
I'm just
I
asking.
oh, no, that's fine. Listen, that's a fair question. I would be sensitive to that. But I'm trying to prove a point. Can you love outside of yourself? Because on the flip side,
Can
if
you
somebody
love outside of yourself, not to ask that woman to get
yes,
up at
yes,
3 in
yes,
the morning?
yes, ma'am, I can.
That's
But here,
loving outside of yourself.
hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying, ma'am, is this. Damn it, if that man, if somebody's knocking on the door in the middle of the night, breaking into the house, do you expect that man to go defend that house? If
How
they hear
often
me,
does that happen?
I
You
need you to
all
hear
say
me.
that all the
It
time.
depends on where you live
Somebody
at.
knocking on the door and busting in.
Hear
How
what I'm
often does
saying.
that happen?
It depends on where you live at. If you need some, just say if you need something of concern, well, you might ask your husband to get up and go
So
get something
you
for
in
me.
the hood? Okay, yeah.
Okay, right. That's my point. You could be in the hood. We're not talking about Bougieville. You might live in Bougieville, but everybody ain't bougie like you. You know,
How often?
You know
How
what?
often does your man
Hey,
ask you to get up and cook him something to
how
eat?
often
Hey,
has your
Rick,
husband?
I
you
got
read
some
my
great
mind. I
right
was
now.
just getting ready to say the same
but see,
thing.
guys,
How often?
but see,
Your
guys.
husband asked you to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and cook him a dinner.
She said, "Be sensitive to her."
Here's what I'm saying, guys. I did that.
I'm just curious.
I did that intentionally. I just did that for father.
No, I talked about the 3 o'clock scenario.
Right,
And
right.
I hear where you're coming from as a test.
It's a test, right, Mom?
But most men who come home, listen, like me, at 3 o'clock in the morning, I know how to go in the kitchen and hook my shit up. I wouldn't have
But my whole point is, but all
That
pain.
ain't
That's not the point. When you're missing the point. When a woman loves her man and the woman is submissive and obeying her husband, she respects his leadership. My point is, it's going to cost her something. I didn't say he's gonna ask her every time. Get up 3 o'clock in the morning.
Coach, listen.
Let's take it away from that stupid. Let's take it
Hold
away from
on,
that
Arpane.
stupid scenario.
Hold
Because
on,
I
Arpane.
agree with you 100%. But we have a whole bunch of tests for the women we love.
You don't think she don't test you? You don't think she don't test you?
Just finish saying what I'm saying. We as men, we have a whole bunch of tests for the women we love that test what you just said. Right? And we could keep it into scenarios that make sense. And we don't even have to go through it, because at some point we're going to test our wives to see how dedicated they are to us, whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning or for something else. So all I'm just trying to say is, when we have these conversations, we don't have to go to extremes, because I know exactly what you're talking about.
But you know what, Trey? But you know what? It's not extreme, because in other cultures, women don't mind doing it. I know plenty of women from other cultures. They don't mind doing it because they love their men.
Hey, listen, I was gonna tell you guys. Listen, I was in law enforcement. I had weird hours, right?
Same here. I was in law enforcement,
and I dated a woman, and I would come home at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning,
right?
And she worked the morning shift, so she was
Right.
up at 5 or 6 to go into roll call.
Right.
And guess who was up to greet me?
Right.
And I know she was tired. I know
Right.
she was exhausted,
Yes,
but, hey,
sir.
I want to see you. She was, listen. If a woman is, if she fuck with you, she fuck with you. It's
That's
just
my
that
whole.
simple.
That's my whole
It's just
point,
that
Trey.
simple.
That's all I'm saying.
What happened to her, Trey?
That's all I'm saying,
You know
Trey.
what?
That's all I'm saying, brother.
Everybody's
Mr. Bennett,
using
what
the
happened to
scenario.
her is that she wanted to get married tomorrow, and she wanted to do it on her time and not
Right.
on my time.
Right.
And that's where we went left.
Right. Right. That's all I'm saying, Trey.
But when I would
got
come
home safe.
over, she was up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. How was your shift? How was everything going?
Right,
Anything crazy
right,
happened tonight?
right.
Are you good? You need a back rub? Yada yada yada. And
Right.
she had to go to work.
I don't know, bro.
She was trying to get
Little
chose.
bit different. That's law enforcement.
No,
you might have
Uncle Rick, you're right. She was trying to
trying
get
to
married.
get chose.
Yeah, no,
That's law
you're right.
enforcement.
You're right
Your
about
life
that.
is in danger.
That might have been the one
Stand
to
up and say
get
no.
out of your comfort zone for.
You know what? Let me ask y'all a
After
question,
all of
man.
that.
I'm going to give you something more practical that men do for women that nobody ever thinks about. Say, for instance, you're out of your favorite super duper pads that you normally use at night. You use whenever, you know what I'm saying?
That's
And
a
it's
good
late
point.
at night.
Excellent point.
And you need your husband to go down there to the store and get you what you need. I promise you, he will not flinch. He'll go right there and get it.
Right. Right.
Now, do you think he really wants to get out in the middle of the night at 3 o'clock in
At
the morning to go get that what you need? He ain't gonna make no excuses. He ain't gonna say none of that. He just gonna go do what he
I
gotta
don't know,
do.
bro. That look,
Hey,
I'm
Loss,
looking at 7
at
days
4
later.
degrees
That's an investment.
Fahrenheit.
That's
You know
7
what I'm
days
saying?
later.
You gonna be on
Loss,
space camp talking about, are these the right ones? You know what I'm saying?
I've gone out
With
in the
the
middle of the night
broken
to get
finger
Slurpees,
nail.
Ross, to get a Slurpee because she wanted a Slurpee.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or
I've done
any
it.
type of weird craving, like say for instance, she having your
Yeah.
kids. Let me get
I
some
was just
peanut
gonna
butter,
go there.
Right.
pickles,
That's my point.
and
That's my
ice
point.
cream. You know what I'm
That's my
saying?
point.
Can I say one thing? I need to bounce soon. I want to go back to an earlier point that lost in translation. A question he asked at the beginning of the show. We talked about when the role changes, does the woman change? And from what I heard from most of the guys is that yes, when she takes on these different roles, she changes. But we also heard, especially from culture clinician, talking about these other cultures where women work, like Latin women work. I mean, they do a lot of the same things that American women do, but they still have that relationship when it comes to the house. So can we blankly say that because a woman is working outside the home or takes a leadership position or whatever, that it's all women, or is this simply a problem for the West?
The West.
Yeah. It's a Western problem.
Okay, so it's not a
This is an issue in the West.
So then it's not a woman problem then. Because that was kind of being woven into the conversation when you take women out of their natural order. Well, if this natural order, that should be women across the board, and it's not. So we have to deal with the specific problem of the West rather than women across the board, because we know women who go out and ball, like you said, the CEO,
We are dealing with it,
Nigerian
Mr. Bennett.
CEO,
We
and she
got our
still takes care of
passports.
it.
We are dealing with it.
But Mr. Bennett, every woman does not always respond to the virtues or the machinations of Western indoctrination. There are some women that are able to curve outside of that because they're disciplined. But by and large, I would say more women in the West tend to more or less curtail to that Western mindset. They think like Western women. Right.
And that's fine. But I just want to again go back to the point I thought was being made earlier, that this is a woman problem. It's a function of the species, and we may need to tailor it more to the society more so than the species.
But I love that, Mr. Bennett. But you know what? It is a woman's problem, but it's not a woman's problem. Let me explain my point. Women that are from other countries are traditional, and they're conditioned to curtail some of their natural inclinations. Women in the West are not conditioned to do it, because in the West they have everything. But women from other countries, they tend to be more inclined because they're more what I call more heteronormative, heterosexual tradition. They're more patriarchal. But in the West, we live in a matriarchy because the men always placate to what their women think. I see so many men in therapy doing what their wife think. That would never work for me. And some of the women get mad. And I said, well, you can go find another therapist, but it don't change the truth. And so that's why I said earlier, when she can love outside herself, like Trey was saying, then that's love to a man because it costs something. When you can give your man things like, I know plenty of men right now, Mr. Bennett, that bust their ass. I had a neurosurgeon one time, and he was making almost $1 million a year. He came home like a goofball and cooked and cleaned, and his wife was going to judo tournaments and going to kickboxing. But she gave him intimacy when she wanted to give it to him.
Yeah.
But he's still paying all bills. And I say to myself, you're a fool to myself because I would never do that. Because what do I need you for? I can just be a single man or hire somebody to do it. If I'm making $900,000 a year, what do I need you for? I can get me a young Latin woman, a woman from another country that understands the assignment. I'm going to take good care of her, and she's going to take good care of me. But you got these entitled, selfish women that always want things when they want it, but they wonder why they are always single. Masculine men ain't gonna put up with that issue.
We're not disagreeing on we can diagnose the problem. I guess in terms of the cause, though, I just want to leave at the point saying that this is about conditioning. It is.
Right.
It
is about conditioning.
It can be learned. It can also be
conditioning and conditions. Right.
Well, let me ask y'all this. Let me ask y'all
listen,
this.
guys, I need to run.
Yeah, I got to go too. I got about 5 minutes.
Everybody, y'all can be happy. I'll still listen on.
Yes, sir.
Catch you guys on Friday. God bless.
No doubt.
Appreciate it, Mr. But let me ask you a question. Everybody's saying that women are conditioned to do certain things. Do they not have their own, agency to think for themselves? And if that's the case, if women can be conditioned, are men being conditioned unaware? You see what I'm saying?
Well, there's a such thing called a conscious pathology and an unconscious pathology. All conditioning don't necessarily mean conscious conditioning. Men are definitely have been conditioned to be weak, but they're not always aware of it because we call it in the clinical world psychoanalytic, meaning there are unconscious motivations that they're not aware of. They might proclaim and do certain things, but they're not aware of it. So that socialization can be negative or positive. The positive socialization a lot of times is something that you are aware of, but there are things that have been embedded in you based on trauma or more or less negative conditioning. They just do, like the word partner. People say it all the time, but they never took the time to understand the etymology behind the word partner. They just say it out of happenstance, but they don't understand that the words that they are saying is actually speaking things into existence. The more you say things, life and death is in the power of the tongue. So when I hear a woman say, "You're not my partner, sweetie. You're not my partner. You're my wife. I'm gonna take good care of you. I'm gonna make sweet love to you. I'm gonna ride or die. I'm gonna make sure you're taken care of. But you're gonna follow leadership. And so you're not my partner because once again, they want partnerships when they benefit them, when they come down to power. But when they come down to the traditional things, that's when they want a husband. So they pick and choose when they want to do it. And sadly, men allow it. They allow it, but I'm not them allowing that. And some of you men, y'all don't have to allow it. Because men set the template. If you allow her to do it, she's going to do it.
Here's my thing. My thing is whenever we take and give external excuses for people, it never really manifests accountability. So we can always say, well, it's their conditioning, so it's out of their control. When we say it's out of their control, that means they can't take control of it and fix it for themselves. It's almost as if we're letting women off the hook like children. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, he's just a kid. He's just doing whatever. And to me, it seems like we're making the same exception for women and saying, hey, it's all right. They're just being conditioned. You know what I'm saying? But men aren't afforded that luxury of saying men are being conditioned. We still have to perform. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, but once again, you can't change what you don't acknowledge. Lost in translation. Some don't know. Some women have been besmirched by liberal indoctrination, and they don't really know. Some men have been besmirched by liberal indoctrination where they compromise their power. They don't really know they're doing it. I call it unconscious, SIMP. I won't say the word because YouTube is funny, but they're unconscious. It stands for supplementing irrational male patterns of behavior. A lot of men are unconscious SIMPs. They don't even know they are. But then you got the conscious SIMP. He knows what he's doing. That means he's sacrificing important masculine principles. And a lot of men do it. But my whole point is you can't change what you don't acknowledge. When you bring up behaviors that don't want to the forefront, you delineate the things she's doing that's going outside your value system, and then she keeps doing it. Then she's no longer gets the past that I didn't know. But some of them don't know that's what they're doing because it's called unconscious motivation. That's in psychoanalytic theory. They don't know they're doing it. Sometimes it's unconscious. People repress certain things about their past and they're not even aware of, but someone can trigger it and they can bring it back to the surface of their conscious mind. So many times they don't know, but there are many women that know what they're doing and they choose to do it, and the men allow them to do it. And I do agree with you. If the men allow them to do it, if that man called it out and she's still doing it, in that case, lost in translation, you're correct. She needs to be held accountable. But there are circumstances and situations where she's not aware of it.
Like to say, for instance, they experience some type of trauma, they compartmentalize it on purpose to make
That's
sure
possible.
that it
Yes,
doesn't.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That's
Does
possible.
that make sense?
That makes sense, but sometimes it's not even trauma. It just be bad behavior. Everything ain't trauma. You know, folks always talking about trauma. Everything ain't
Right.
trauma. Some things are just you just rebellious. You just want to do what you want to do.
Right.
Everything, it's trauma. No, ain't no trauma. You just want to do what you want to do. You want to test boundaries. You want to test limits because women test men too. They test how far that man gonna let them get away with BS. And when they test them, you got to come in strong and hold that behavior accountable because the behavior modification, a relationship should be on an equilibrium, meaning you benefit, she benefits. But in a relationship where you're constantly placating to her, it's positive reinforcement for her, but it's negative for you. In a relationship, and we call it equilibrium, it should be beneficial for the man, it should be beneficial for the woman. Both should be mutually beneficial and benefit in that relationship. In the science, we call it symbiotic. It's a symbiotic relationship.
Right.
They both are benefiting. But if you're in a relationship where she's a parasite and she's a leech and you're constantly giving and giving and giving and stressing yourself out and not getting nothing in return, then that relationship is not healthy. When a woman can give outside of herself, that's love. Because it costs us something. And women by nature are very insular, meaning they're selfish. Human beings are selfish, don't get me wrong. But they
Right.
have a special type of selfishness because they have to survive. Women always going to default back to their biological imperative. They're survivalists. So that's why a lot of times they tend to love opportunistically. If we had a major war, some of mass proportion that happened, they would go back and default back to their natural setting. But now everything the men is giving them, the infrastructure, and everything the men created, well, sure they stronger independent don't need you because everything that they need to be stronger independent, you gave it to them. But if every man, boy, got on a rocket ship and went to planet Man, do you think women can build tools from their own hands, build infrastructure from their own hands, and sustain the ecosystem? They couldn't do it because it took years for men to build the infrastructure that we have. It took years for men to be blacksmiths and artisans and masons to build the infrastructure. There were master masons, and then there were more or less apprentices that learned from those men. So if no one taught those women, how would they figure it out? They would suffer. But they don't want to admit it because they're full of pride. Some of them, not all. Some women will acknowledge that they need men, but many are very prideful. They do. I don't need a man. Well, we'll see when the barbarians start knocking on the door. We'll see how much you need a man.
You know what? I'm gonna get some women and then on this conversation. Anissa, you've been patiently waiting. Then after that, I'm gonna get Miss Jenny and then Callie. You've heard the men talk. They said you heard what they said. What are some of the things that are running through your mind right now? They said the women love opportunistically.
I think that the true nature of men and women is what it is. Men, personally, I think that we know what women desire from men. We desire protection and provision. We know what men desire from women. The key is for
What's that?
both parts: love, respect, cooperation, submission. The key is for both parties to get that. And I think that's where the difficulty has come between the relationships. I agree with most of the things that the men have said. To be honest with you, of course not everything, but I do agree with most of the things that the men have said here tonight. And I think we as women need to be aware and listen. Need to be willing to meet those needs. I think there still has to be compromise in any type of relationship, and especially in a marriage. It can't all be the man's way. It can't all be the woman's way. You have to kind of get that dance, that song and dance, so that, like he said, it's beneficial to both people. It should never be so lopsided where it's all about what the man wants, and the woman is just constantly acquiescing to this man's wants and needs and desires and what he thinks and what he feels. I think that's very unfair to the woman. But if you have the right man, that man is going to also be sensitive to the needs of his woman, so that it is going to be a balance, and so everybody's needs gets met in the interim. So, but I pretty much agree with a lot of the things that the men said, and I stand by my ground. I am not cutting.
She ain't cut no grass. She said she cut no damn grass.
Not gonna happen.
All right, but listen, but yeah, I'm gonna leave that alone. Nessa, what month were you born? Because you on the stubborn side. What month were you born? What month were you born?
What month?
Yeah,
July.
July. Oh, July what?
4th.
Oh, you sweet. You just trying to act like you're a gangster, man. You really sweet. You're really a nurturer, man. You're a nurturer. You just moody. You just moody and mean, but you're really a nurturer. You just be trying to flex like you're a gangster, but you really sweet. You really sweet.
Very soft on the inside.
No, you really soft on the inside. Yeah, you real sweet. You just flexing like you're a gangster, man.
But I'm not cutting no grass.
So you're cutting no grass.
Miss Janice, I ain't cutting no grass. Come on, Miss Jenny. What you got? You've heard what the men have said. Do you agree?
Yeah, that reminds me of another point that I was thinking of earlier when we were initially talking about that, about, a woman, she'll outsource things that her man used to do if the man is down, and that's a bad thing. But I don't feel like that's necessarily a bad thing, because I'm sure that there are a lot of men who would outsource things that the wife would do if she were down. Like if a wife is the one who does the cooking and she's sick or something, then I'm sure a lot of men would just DoorDash food. Like, they're not cooking, and that's just how it's going to be.
I'm gonna learn how to cook.
I mean, that might be you, but there are a lot of men who aren't like that. And so, just like there are women who are like, well, I'm gonna just hire a guy to do the lawn and wash the car. There are a lot of men who are like, I'm gonna send the laundry off. I'm gonna call my mom over. I'm gonna DoorDash. I'm just not gonna do that stuff. And so I think that, it's just human nature. People want to take the path of least resistance.
I agree.
And so I think that just makes sense for both parties that, those people, that's what people want to do. And then the whole scenario about, cooking for your man in the middle of the night, all that stuff. Would you cut your friends off for him? I kind of find myself somewhere in the middle. I don't see myself getting up in the middle of the night cooking for my husband under any circumstances. But I would cut anybody off for my husband if he asked me to. All of you are on a short rope. So there's that. I don't know. I'm just kind of in the middle on that. But see, if you're playing chess instead of checkers, then what you do is you will learn your man, and you'll have things in the house that can be readily eaten at a moment's notice, and keep those on hand in case your husband is ever hungry in the middle of the night.
Be smart, Jenny. Yes.
But Jenny, once again though, but that's cheating, and I love your answer. I know you're being honest, but that's cheating, because it goes right back to what I said a minute ago. It goes back to what I said once again. Let me ask you a question. And maybe you're not a woman of faith, so if you're not a woman of faith, it doesn't mean anything. But if you're a person of faith, and I grew up in the church, but I got to get back in it. But when you become married, you're no longer your own. Your body is not your own. His body is not his own. Y'all are one flesh, and so it don't become about you. It becomes about the mission. He might do it because he might be hungry. He might say, "Look, babe, I got a taste for some eggs and bacon. 2:00 in the morning. Yeah, I know you got to go to work in the morning, but my whole point is, you don't expect me to pay for that trip when we go to Cancun. You wouldn't expect me to pay for the meals when we go out. So that's just a small token of your appreciation for me. My whole point is, if you can't do that outside of yourself, then it's not really truly love, because love costs something for a man. If you're not willing to give outside yourself, because men, we're always willing to defend those that we love, then how can you say you really love your man? When you really love your man, you don't mind giving outside yourself, because it costs something. And that's what I try to get so many women to understand in relationships. you got to give outside yourself. If you're not willing to give outside yourself, and that makes sense what Trey was saying earlier, and you might be a trad con or whatever traditional woman, but are you truly a traditional woman? Because right now, if I ask my wife to cook me a meal, I'm not going to ask her to do it, because I'm not, that's silly. But if I was really hungry, she would do it. She'd probably be a little wheezy, but she would do it. But guess what? I'm taking mental notes. She didn't mind giving outside of herself, so I'm gonna go even harder for her when she asks me to do something for her. I'm gonna pay the majority of some of it. When she needed to pay anything, I got her because she gave outside of herself, and that's what I mean. A wife is supposed to be betrothed by her husband. She's groomed to meet his mission, not her mission. In the faith, it said, "Not my will, but Thy will be done." But that's why I say I could never deal with women in the West again if I was a single man. If I'm a single man, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm getting me something foreign. I'm getting me something strange. I'm not coming back to the West. And I love your honesty. I love your honesty, though. At least you're honest about it.
Yeah, and I can understand that, but I think it's about compromise, and it's about give and take.
I just said he's going to give. Did you not hear me say he's going to give? You giving that small token of appreciation. He is going to give. I remember Jenny got up 3:00 in the morning and she cooked me that meal. I got my baby. I'm going to look out for her. Jenny did it again on this time. I'm taking notes. I got her. But on the flip side, you expect him to pay the majority of when you guys go out to dinner. You expect him to pay. That costs a lot. So which is more? You say give and take. Okay, so what are you giving him? Because you say you're giving him sex, well, you love sex too. It got to be mutually beneficial. But my whole point is, other cultures of women, they don't mind doing that for their man. Women in the Philippines don't mind getting up cooking their man a meal. Women from Latin culture, they don't mind doing it. Some from the traditional African culture, they don't mind doing it because they love their men. I'm not talking about a lazy man. I'm not talking about a man that's a bum. I'm not talking about a man that's trying to leech off you. I'm not talking about those men. I'm talking about a man that's proven himself over and over again to show himself strong. He always coming in. He's always showing that. He always said, baby, I got you. But yet, when y'all go out, you want him to foot the bill, the $150 bill. You want him to pay for it. If he said, well, we're going to pay half on it, you're going to take it personal. But on the flip side, you said it's about compromise. So what are you compromising? Because like I said earlier, are you willing to give outside of yourself? Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
Yeah, that is where the compromise is, in the fact that it's not that no, you can't have anything. It's okay, if I know that twice a week, 3 times a week, you might have these random cravings, so I am going to be forward thinking, and I'm going to have things ready for you. So I know that you like to have little crustless sandwiches, or that I know you like to have frozen grapes, or I know you like to have X, Y, and Z snack. And so I can prepare that ahead of time. And so I'm still showing him love because it's still taking my time, whether I make it in the middle of the night or if I make it in the middle of the day. I'm still taking the time out, and I'm thinking of my husband and how much I care for him.
That's
and
still
I'm
provision, Jenny. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make things for him so that way he can have it and it can be ready for him at a moment's notice. And so that is where the compromise lies. I might not be able to get him to a fresh batch of scrambled eggs.
That's what I'm talking about, Jenny. That's what I'm talking about, and that's what that's what I'm talking about, Jenny. You're trying to tell him what he wants instead of becoming what he wants, and that's the problem with women in the West. They try to tell the man what he wants instead of becoming. It goes back to what I said earlier. Obedience is better than sacrifice. If you're really serious about loving your man, you're going to give outside yourself. If he said, listen, baby, I want fresh eggs and fresh bacon, you give him fresh eggs and fresh bacon instead of you saying, I'm going to give you what I think you want, because you're still being selfish. You're still not giving outside of yourself. It might be provision in your mind, but it's not true provision because you didn't give him what he wants. I'll give you an example, Jenny. If you told your husband, I want, I want a brand new kitchen set, and he go and try to build it himself, and you saw one that was very expensive, and you said, babe, I want them. And he said, well, you know what, babe, I'm going to still get your kitchen set, but I'm going to build it myself. Well, he cheated because he didn't give you what you wanted. He didn't give you what you wanted. He gave you what he thought what he could get away with. And that's disingenuous. That's disingenuous.
Listen, I will order.
I want you to cut the grass and get up.
I never said that.
Look, I will take them. I will take that meal that I cooked for dinner and wrap it up in foil on a microwave safe plate, and you can pop it in the microwave when you get home.
You know what?
Okay.
You know what? I love your women's honesty, but But yeah. Y'all proving my point. But y'all are honest though. I love your honesty. Y'all real honest.
I
I love
will
the fact
call
y'all honest.
ahead at the Waffle House. Waffle House stay open 24
I
hours
don't.
a day. I will
I don't.
call ahead at the Waffle House. Hey, babe, I will text, hey, babe, on your way home. Stop by Waffle House. It's already ready and it's paid for. All you
Man,
gotta do is
listen.
just give them your
Listen.
name.
Listen. I don't want no damn Waffle House. I want some fresh eggs, fresh hen eggs, and some organic bacon. Some of that good thick cut bacon from Sprouts. I want bougie stuff.
It's gonna be fresh.
I
You got
don't
a
I don't
Waffle
want
House chef.
nothing from no yeah. And that's my whole point. Y'all are proving my point. But I love y'all honestly though. I love Anissa being honest and Bev and Jen. I love it because you know what, Jenny, I saw you on the show and I even shouted you out. This might be risk. I said that's a good traditional sister. But y'all ain't truly traditional, man. Y'all got an ideal of what traditionalism is, but y'all not. I was in Brazil twice. I was in a movie called with Al Grease called Frustrated 3. Women, the ones that are of a certain age, like you're younger, Jenny. You're about what, 28, 29, right? You're about 28, 29?
I'm 25.
Oh, you're a baby. All right, so so I understand you're more of the new age. You're like a Gen Z. So I see your thinking. But when you go to those other cultures, they rather die for their men. They don't mind going hard for their men. They don't mind doing that. They don't mind doing it. They love doing it. They might be tired, but they say, baby, I got you. And that's what I'm saying. Men don't mind rewarding women like that. They don't mind giving them the best. They don't mind playing Jaheim. You can have anything. They don't mind doing it because she gave outside of herself. But giving me some damn Waffle House and I don't want that shit. I want something fresh. And you can't give me what I want.
It's gonna be fresh
Well,
off the
I think
grill
that's
at
more so
Waffle House.
because like
I hear you, Callie, but I don't want that. So I'll just tell you, you know what, Callie,
But
don't worry
no, but
about it.
look,
I'm
the
good.
thing is this though. I have no problem with giving of myself. Okay, me personally, I'm allergic to overtime. Okay, I hate it with a passion. I don't like doing it. But if there's something that we need or whatever, I will work that overtime so we can get it done. Okay, that's how I give of myself. But yeah, and if you know, you know, I'm allergic to overtime. So if I'm doing it, that means I really care.
Well, I think we have another problem on the flip side of that coin is that you have a lot of men that does not fit the criteria that you guys were talking about, right? That these women are involved with. So they're not with the man that's willing to go 100 with them. And I think this is where we have a lot of problems where it would trigger a lot of people because you have women that have been with men for 20 years that they don't revere that man as the man that has been described tonight. And it's a lot of them. So when that man do say, I want some, it could be 6 o'clock in the afternoon. He just got off work. He's like, baby, can you fix me a hamburger? She like, we ain't got no hamburger. That's all. And
Yeah. You're right.
that.
I agree with that. I agree with that. That's different. I'm talking about a man that's a hardworking man. I always qualify on my show. I'm not talking about couch potatoes or lazy men or men that are not productive. Right.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying he may go to work. But I don't think that a lot of women revere these men as the men that were. Not saying that the man just wasn't. Some of them may not. Some of them may. But I think a lot of women had so much experience being in all different type of relationships, all these different serial relationships, where they can't even identify what a good man actually is.
I agree
because of what they were conditioned in.
I
So
totally agree.
that's one of the things that can it can trigger. If you've seen some of the comments and stuff like that, it can trigger people from that because they don't think that there's a lot of men that's like that. One of the things I talk to with my friends is that even though they may not be the men that make a whole bunch of money or something like that, these are hardworking men and they will do whatever it takes to make sure that that woman gets everything that she needs and beyond that also. Whether if they, like what Kelly was just saying, if they got to work overtime, if they got to work a second job, whatever it is.
Right.
But it's not that, I don't know what you called it, but I'm gonna learn that word. It's not.
Yeah, it's track on.
Like it's not that 360 that goes around. And so I think that's one of the biggest problems. And the second problem is that I don't think people believe that they get old. I don't think that people believe they get weak and they get weary. So they always, even when you hear them talking about relationships, they would start out where they're talking about the relationship and they say, well, at the beginning, which means that they are looking for an end instead of a transition, right? Because the way we talked about it a couple of shows ago, that the only way that you get out a successful marriage is to die out of a successful marriage. There's no you've arrived somewhere else. You're not about to go to the golden gates or nothing like that. It's dutiful, and a lot of people don't understand the duty of marriage and in a relationship. So this is why you will have a lot of pushback from a lot of people also. But what you guys were saying, I've experienced it. 3 o'clock in the morning, I probably been doing a show or whatever it was that I was doing. And guess what? And I used to be a DJ. So I come home, and if, even if I don't tell them exactly what I want, they know that I need something to eat.
Right.
Because the first thing they're going to ask me is, are you hungry?
Right.
That's the thing. Are you hungry? I know you've been. So that's what I think that, like, I think even with Jenny and Kelly Bell, I think they cap it over here. They would do that shit. If their man is like, I'm hungry, baby, do you remember that tuna fish that you did? Or you remember that turkey sandwich with the bacon on there? Can you whip it up for me or whatever? And I think that they would do it. I just don't think that they would do it if the dude was just a lazy ass cat. But I believe that they would do that shit.
Yeah, I'm cooking no steak dinner. I'll make you an egg sandwich real quick though.
But I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Anissa would do it more quicker than Kelly and Jenny, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think at her core, Anissa is a feminine woman. I see good in her, but you need to come see me, Anissa, for a non-diagnostic consultation, man. I'm a licensed therapist. There's a lot of good in her, but what I think what happens a lot of times, women become jaded because of their past experiences. They become very jaded, and they see every man through a prism of darkness instead of seeing that man through a prism of being a potentiality. But I think you would be the one that would do it, Anissa, before Callie and Jenny. I think Anissa would do it. I think I'm like Smeagol. Me know these things. I think she would do it.
Hold on, wait a minute. Let me ask her first before you start giving her credit. Anissa, would you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and cook your man a porterhouse steak just because he wanted?
With the mushroom sauteed?
If I were a full-time housewife, absolutely. You would get no problem out of me.
You heard that, Coach? She got to be a full-time housewife.
I answered it.
That wagyu.
I would be honored to do that for you.
Right. But what I'm saying, if you are working, could you? I'm not saying every night, but I might say the full course meal. He might say, "Look, babe, I want some egg. I want some of them Sprouts eggs, and I want some of that thick cut bacon from Sprouts. Look out for it, brother, baby."
On some potato bread.
You know what that sounds like? You know what that sounds like, Coach Condition? You know what that sounds like? That sounds like, well, if he owns the bus.
Right.
If he owns the bus, then yeah, I'll cook him whatever he wants. But if he's driving the bus, we got peanut butter and
right.
You know
Conditional.
we got that end piece of bread left and one from the middle, and that's all you gonna get.
Hand bread.
Got the butt.
Well, listen, guys. Look, I got to run, man. But hashtag, and I hate to say it, but foreign brides save lives, man. I got to leave it at that. Foreign brides save lives, and I'll leave it at that, man. But this has been a good panel discussion. I enjoyed you young ladies. And like I said, man, but you know what? But I'm gonna say this before I leave. I believe he laid that wood right. They won't mind doing it. I believe he laid that wood right. They'll get up early in the morning. Because Raekwon the Man got a lot for nothing. If he laid that wood, he laid that wood right. They don't mind getting up doing it, man. I know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna leave on that note. Anyway, guys, it's been a good conversation. Y'all take care. Be good.
Appreciate it.
All right,
ladies and gentlemen.
Later on.
Yeah, listen. You know what? That last part that he said,
yeah,
I agree with that 100%. But and the rest of it, listen. One of the things I think in any kind of situation, I think men need to be strategic in what they want from their women. Right? I mean, that's what I think. I put that Anissa answer the way she would because I believe her, and I don't believe the other women like Callie Bev or Jenny wouldn't do what they want their husband wants to do, but it depends on the circumstance. I mean, you listen, I'm strategic in what I want from my wife. right? Because I understand that there's a price to pay, right? I'd rather have her emotional piggy bank full than draining that shit unnecessarily. That's just me. So one of the things I think in a relationship with a woman for a man is to get it from being transactional to where both of you guys validate your love just by being together. Meaning that when you're together for sex or anything else, it's not for a reward or a punishment. You know, so if you're still valid, if your love making and whatever you have together is a transactional relationship, you guys are upside down already, right? It should not be tit for tat. And if it still is after, even before you get married, if it still is, you guys are going down the wrong path. Now, I can dig it, you know, in a scenario where my wife has to do some extraordinary shit for me. She has. And I have done some shit for her. But I hate these scenarios because that doesn't really make the rule, right? Because a man who's in tune with his wife and she's in tune with him, you don't put your spouse in those kind of situations. So if my wife knows that I get in late, she should have some shit ready for me that I could just pop in the microwave or just put on a piece of bread and all that kind of shit. I would not look at my wife with that peaceful face on her sleeping and ask her to get up and make me a goddamn thing.
Right.
I'm not that helpless. I would never do that. You know, so that scenario is just crazy. Now, I might wake up at 3 o'clock because I want to get my shit, you know.
Hey, you
But
better know it.
that's to me, that's different. I'm horny, you know, that's a different thing. But I would ask her to make me a sandwich. Yeah, I want to bust a little bit of cheeks tonight. You know what? I'll make it up to you in the morning, baby. You know,
That's right.
you know, so that's different. You know, so I gotta be honest. So let me just move on. In a long-term relationship, you got to be strategic a little bit on the things you ask from each other. That's all I'm thinking about. It can't be one way. You can't put your ego in front of your as long as your leadership is intact, you should not have your emotions on your sleeve with your woman. And you have to have her with a certain amount of autonomy. My wife is not afraid of me. I don't have her being afraid of me. Let me tell you one thing. I'm going to land it here. That woman who I married has the ability to destroy me. And anybody who marries a woman, if you're smart, a woman has, you know, just like we're apex predators against women, a woman can destroy you. And the fact that they don't is because they choose not to. Because my wife, I've been working and she's been kind of under my privilege. If she got me into a courtroom, they probably would take the drawers away from me that I have on, and I go outside butt naked, and my Johnson will shrivel up in the cold. So I know that, you know, our relationship is one of those things. I have a healthy respect for the control and the power that the woman has over me, and every man should understand that before you go and marry or bring her into your relationship, because it's true. We live it. We have so many examples of women destroying men. I'm no exception. My wife doesn't do it to me because she doesn't want to, because she loves me, because I'm a nice guy. Let me tell you, ladies, I'm probably one of the best freaking husbands in the whole goddamn world.
You better believe it. You better tell them.
But anyway, so I just want to let y'all know that. And my wife appreciates that, and that's enough for me. Let me land it there.
Appreciate it, our pain. Thank you. Miss Jenny, you
Thank
got
you
any
for
final
having me
thoughts
up.
before we get up out of here?
I don't know. I understand what Kosher Clinic was saying, and I can understand it, you know, just from a theoretical standpoint. But that's why I kind of caveated my statement by saying, like, you know, when you actually learn your husband and get to know him, you know, and that's why I feel like it would be selfish on the husband's part, because it's like, okay, if I know that, you know, every once in a while you're going to get hungry, because it's not even just in the middle of the night, but what if I'm just not home and he wants something? You know, I'm going to have things in the house that are either in the pantry that are ready and you can just like snack on it, like some pre-made granola, or I'm going to have something in the freezer that you can eat cold, so you just literally grab it and eat it. And I'm going to, you know, be mindful of you and want to, you know, provide for you in that way. And so I think that, you know, if there are things in the house that I have made for you, and it's, if I made it from scratch, I didn't buy it, and then you are like, well, I want this one specific thing. I need you to get up right now and make this one specific meal. I think that's selfish, and I wouldn't even want to be with somebody who's so mean and rude like that. And so I think it just depends on different strokes for different folks, because I mean, if my husband was sick and he needed me, like, the example that you gave about with the pads in the middle of the night, of course I would want him to go get me pads. And if he was sick and I needed to get him something, I'd be more than happy to go get him something that he needed. But hunger is not a surprise. Hunger happens around every 4 hours on the dime. And so there's food in the house, eat something in the meantime, and in the morning I'll make you whatever you want. Like, that's just how I see it. But like he said, I'm young, my opinions might change, who knows. And so I guess that's where I stand. And yeah, and everybody who's watching, thanks for watching. I'm Mrs. Jenny. I have my channel. You can find it under Mrs. Jenny. And I talk about nothing like this. I don't really talk about stuff like this on my channel. I talk more about just like Christianity as a whole. So if you're interested in stuff like that, then feel free to click on over.
Oh, by the way, grapes are the new popcorn.
That's right.
Yeah, okay, so I heard what the men was saying. I think a lot of it gets lost in translation. I had no idea that partner was supposed to be a bad word, even though, I've told my story probably on these interwebs several times. I make the first decision, he makes the last. He's the one that ultimately ends up pulling the trigger. But that is my partner for life. Can't tell me nothing. That is my day two. And the only reason why he my day two is because I met the day one first. That's the only reason. You know what I'm saying? But whatchamacallit, like that is my life partner. It's team us against everybody. Despite the fact that he is he's the leader of the house type deal. You know what I mean? So I never knew that was so triggering. I'll try not to use the word partner anymore because that's a bad word on the internet. Whatchamacallit, as far as I agree with what Miss Jenny was saying. I will have something for you so you can go ahead and do that. I'll probably halfway be up anyway because I'm worried about if you made it home safe. You know what I mean? Like, how your mom waiting for you to come home after you've been out and she may not say nothing, but she heard you come in the door and she looked at the time to see what time it was and everything like that. That's me. I'm not going to be able to sleep until you come home safe anyway, because you could be out in a ditch somewhere. That's just how my brain works. But as far as me getting up and turning on a stove, nah, folk. Nah, not happening. Not happening at all.
Not
But
happening at all.
not happening at all. Ask me to give of myself in a different way. But it ain't gonna be 3 o'clock in the morning on no damn stove.
So you waking you up, he gonna have the price to pay.
But yeah, symbiotic relationships, that's fine. If I'm better at one thing, he's better at a different thing, then we'll go ahead and we'll switch that out. Okay, well, you better at this, fine, whatever. Okay, if I pack the trash up better, all right, fine, I'll take out the trash. And you go ahead, you barbecue better, go ahead and you do the barbecue. You know what I mean? You do the barbecue and I'll cook the sides in the kitchen because I'm better in the house and you better cooking outside. I mean, it's all just work together. It's not that deep. It ain't gotta be no tit for tat. You ain't gotta have no checklist. Well, he did this on this day, so that means I gotta do this on this day. Man, F all of that. Y'all do what works for y'all. It ain't that deep.
All right.
Just make sure he
Appreciate
pull the
it.
trigger.
Appreciate it, Caleb Bell. JT, final thoughts, man.
Yeah. I don't know why every time around about this time my damn internet starts to act up. I think they be resetting the towers or something. I have no fucking idea. But yeah, man, great. Right. But it was a great discussion. I got a chance to just sit back and just listen to the folks talk. I've been talking all week, so have to excuse me. I've been on panels and I think I done ran out of bullets. But tomorrow I will be doing my podcast tomorrow on here on Black Man Unfiltered and What We Know podcast. And what I'll be talking about is the generational gap. And I'll be playing a couple of clips, or probably just doing a breakdown of this might be risky. The thing when he was talking about the Z's, talking to the Z's, and what they had to say about the X and the boomers, and see and get some of you guys' perspectives on there tomorrow. Payne, if you able to come, man, come on over, come on the panel so we can get you triggered. You and Trey and Lost.
I'm a regular groupie by now, man.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. And really what I wanted to do is I do want to do a couple of segments where they were talking amongst themselves, and I'm gonna be talking about that. And then once the millennials came in, they started talking to them, and then I don't think it was any exes that was in there, but they had a damn boomer, and everything went boom when the boomer came. And I just want to get a chance to get you guys' perspective of what it is we see. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Y'all know how we do it. Play snippets of it, and then we just take it from there. But I think it's a very a conversation that we do have to have, because there is a gap. And I just wanted to see if you guys can agree that we do need to close it, and then we can find out how to fix it amongst the generations.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it, JT. I think a lot of times, man, when we had these conversations, it's a good thing that we listen to each other, because sometimes people's life experiences gives you a perspective of their own particular rose-colored glasses. And until we actually had these conversations, we won't know. You know what I'm saying? My thing is this: as long as you're willing to, to help your partner, then I think that's the only thing that matters. How you guys run your stuff is how you run your stuff. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, remember, it's just you and your spouse, and that's it. At the end of the day, when all your friends die or move away, and when your parents, go home to glory, and the kids leave and they start their own family, remember, it's just you and your spouse at the end of the day. So we're going to wrap this up. Just making sure that you guys hit the like button on your way out. If you're new, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We got shows just about every day of the week. We got R-Pain, we got you on Mondays. Is that correct? We got JT on Wednesday. Of course, we got Talk That Talk Tuesday. We got Jenny on Saturday. And of course, we got Dr. Nakumbe on Thursday. And then, we got the barbershop on Friday. You know what I'm saying? So y'all stop by, man, and make sure you're welcome.
This is not the barbershop.
At home. Yeah, this ain't the barbershop. We got the barbershop.
Is this the
barbershop? This ain't the barbershop.
This ain't Saturday we invaded your channel. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah. Oh, Kelly Bear, I did want to give you a shout out. I seen your IG, girl. You be dancing your ass off. I was like, damn, Kelly be in there getting it in, boy.
Is that why you don't want to get rid of your IG?
Shout out.
I be having fun. I be having to tell these folk, like, look, being married don't mean you got to be cooped up in the house, hiding up. Your man ain't got to hide you up underneath the bed and all that kind of stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? You can still be yourself and have fun and still operate within the bounds of a marriage.
Thanks.
It ain't you ain't got to be all prude and all that kind of stuff like that.
So you're saying I gotta go
I'm regular degular around here.
I gotta go find her IG and look at. That's what she's saying.
You know what?
Oh, she be jamming, man. She be jamming. I be like, shit. I'm like, yep, I know who used to get their party on, boy. She be going. I was like, damn, no, she could dance. I was like, damn,
it don't happen. It don't happen as often as what it used to. But
right. Friends, it don't matter as long as it happens.
Me and my friends still get it in, okay?
That's what's up. That's what's up, man.
Good night, everybody. Peace.
All right, y'all.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a minute. Work hard for the car, so that's why it's all tinted. Wait a minute. Had a real late night, woke up with my head spinning out Nashville. It's been mad real, I need some sunglasses, I need Advil. I like fake moves and my cash real. I like first place, you're in last still. Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle.
Look, pocket rocket in my pocket, please don't make me pop it. All these boys just wanna copy the style, tell them niggas stop it. Whoa, whoa, this my destiny, feeling like LaToya, like it found me my Beyonce, and she shotgun in the cockpit. Grinding with the team, making C notes. In my pocket still full of green, call it CeeLo. Alligator watch on me, Tim Tebow. And these haters love to watch me like Tebow. Look, I don't take L's, I just learn a lesson. Before I count the M's, always count my blessings. Look, I'm too short, never second guessing. Got some money, put up for the rain, so I'm never stressing.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Fast lane when I pass in the